is the Big O Show. This 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 is the Big O Show. This
So here we are. I wanted to show you the backyard again because we had some trouble last time, but you know, cuttersedgepro.com does some amazing stuff, and there are the boys and the girl. They're having fun. There we go. Right, Maiden? Right, Bono? There we go. They're having fun. I'm having fun. Look at our Sylvester palm. It is beautiful. We got another one in the front yard like that. You can take your home and landscaping to the next level. And the artificial turf, look at that. Look at that, the two dinosaurs going at it, huh? Look at that, I gotta love the dinosaurs. Look at them, they like to bite each other's legs. That's what they do, they play with each other and then they bite each other and they piss each other off. It's fun. One is Bono, which is the one farther away from you, and Maiden, she's the girl right here. She's a badass, that's for sure. So anyway, see the flowers are coming out. Very nice. Cuttersedgepro.com, folks. This big tree there will start budding that I'm showing you there soon. It'll have all kinds of flowers. I'll post another video and I'll show it to you. This is a backyard where everybody gets to hang out. Over there in the corner there, I put the barbecue and cook. So that way it's the farthest away from the house, you know. If I light myself on fire or somebody else, we're out in the corner away from everybody. There you go, so you getting some flowers coming out, which is a beautiful thing. And I swear by this artificial turf, it always looks phenomenal. I don't have to cut it. I don't have to water it. And so I'm saving a lot of money, hundreds and thousands in the long run, because I'm not watering or, of course, cutting the grass. And you know, here in South Florida, we cut the grass like every 10 to 14 days.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
With more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes, Welton Rayom is committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle, slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. That's 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help. Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All righty. Good morning, boys and girls. Ready to rock and roll on a hump day, Wednesday. There we go. Youth Fair Day coming up here at Lone Depot Park, July 30th. Use that code right there. That's a donation. You can go to the game. You're making a donation at the same time. You can make your own donation. So there you go. Youth Fair Day, baby, at Lone Depot Park. Be there, the fair. I love the fair, especially the pickle juice, right, Shad? I mean, that's really what the fair is all about. Pickle juice. There you go. 3 thumbs up. I don't know where he got them, but he got 3 thumbs up there. I have no idea. I'm not even going to ask. Anyway, good morning, one and all on a hump day. We're getting closer and closer and closer and closer to football season. Yeah. Tua hanging out with the Edison kids, giving out some equipment, some, I'm sure, amazing advice and leadership and presence and all that good stuff because he is phenomenal. We got, obviously, the debut of Messi coming in a couple days with Inter Miami and all kinds of news, too, with Inter Miami. We'll get into that. Marlins lose again, unfortunately, to the Cards. I got some stuff to say there that we got to address. I got some football stuff I want to get to, Tua stuff. I got Dolphins stuff, NFL. The NFL crying towel is out. We got to address the NFL crying towel. We've got something that is monumental, something that some of you have grown up with, something that we've all been used to, And now it's dead. It's been killed. I'll tell you what that is. I mean, there's a lot of things, a lot of stuff that we'll get into. There's an NFL quarterback that made kind of a silly statement. We'll get to that also. I got some other stuff there. Let me see what else we got. Obviously, we got our birthdays today. We got a little music news. We've got a couple of guests. Matt Verderam's going to join us. Joe Shad is going to join us. And folks, if you missed Chris Dillon, the director, one of the two directors of Goliath, the documentary of Wilt Chamberlain, it is on audio or video, whichever one you want to you hear or view. But it's a great interview, and there's a lot of great insight on Wilt Chamberlain. If you haven't seen the 3-part series, that's another thing that you should watch. I mean, it is freaking awesome. You know what I started watching? Sean, have you watched Quarterbacks yet on Netflix? Me too. I've watched the first 2 episodes, but it's not as good as people make it out to be. I don't know about you, but, it's all right, but it's not as, I can't hear you. You saying?
No, I haven't said anything. I was waiting till you got your headphones on. I didn't know what your headphones on.
Yeah. What do you think about so far the first 2 episodes?
I like it just because I think you see a different side of the Kirk Cousins. I think you see you get to see behind more than just the player you see on Sunday. That's the thing that I think you get out of it. I mean, is it,
the excerpts from the game are the thing. But
with the Patrick Mahomes, like arguing about him wanting to play and things like that. And then you see how Kirk Cousins is like, even if it's a bad play by a player, he's like, no, my fault. It's just, it puts a different side to them that you don't get to see on Sunday, because on Sunday it's just like, oh, that guy just threw a damn terrible pass and now he's just walking off the field like nothing happened. When in actuality, there's conversations being had that you just don't see, you know what I'm saying? And I think
like Kirk Cousins living with the demon of a mistake. I get you. I get what you're saying.
It's just those little things. Again, not saying it's as, again, so I think some people hyped it up a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
But to me, I like it just because you get to see the everyday life of the player. Because again, a lot of us fans just think, hey, Sunday is the only day they poof. Patrick Mahomes comes out Sunday, and that's the only day he's there. And you get to see what these guys go through on a continuous basis, and to be as, top level, what it takes to be at the top of the game.
No doubt. Yeah, it's it's a must watch for football fans. And Sean is right. It has its moments. It's just not as hype. It's not as good as people make it out to be, but it does have its moments, like Pat Mahomes. And then, obviously with Kirk Cousins, I'm not really surprised with what I'm seeing, because I kind of already know that Kirk Cousins is like a great, great dude. Like he's a fantastic human being. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things. Really religious and just a really down-to-earth guy. And clearly doesn't spend much on his wardrobe. So yeah, that's another thing you learn on the show. But it's worth watching. But I just want you to know, because I read a couple things and some people are saying like, oh, this is phenomenal. It's good, but it's not as great as people make it out to be. You know what I'm saying? You have your moments. Although I got to say something, I got to admit something. The Mariota part of it, it's hard for me to take it like that serious, because I've never taken Mariota serious as a quarterback. From the second he got out of Oregon, I was never really much of a believer. You know what I'm saying? So that's the one that it's kind of like, I wish they would have picked like a better quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Not a guy that's really a backup, that's a mediocre starter, if
I almost feel like they did all 3 levels, like a superstar, Patrick Mahomes, the middle, and then the guy that's going to have to struggle to keep his job, so they had all that intrigue just in case.
3 different kinds of quarterback. You are correct. The stud, the guy that is still like good, but trying to prove himself that he's really like the top franchise type guy, which is Kirk Cousins, because he's a good quarterback. He puts up good stats. He just doesn't get you over that hump. You know what I mean? And look, at the end of this last season, it's like, dude, you didn't throw it to Jefferson and all that, and it ended with that controversy. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you're right. You're right. There's no doubt that they chose 3 different types of quarterbacks. But the Mariota part is just because I was never a believer of Mariota. It's hard for me to take him serious as a starter. It's like when I'm watching that, it's and the best thing he does is one thing: run. He's just never been great at this. His accuracy, his touch. He's never been a really good touch passer. For me, that's what stood out to me in Oregon when I would watch him. Touch passes, he really struggled with. It was just one of those things. So we got a bunch of things to talk about today on the show. By the way, did you see yesterday? I mean, I doubt you guys saw this because nobody's going to keep up with this kind of crap. I keep up with stupid shit like this. Did you guys see? Did you see the bobblehead they gave out yesterday with the Royals there, Sean? No? They gave away the Bo Jackson running up on the wall bobblehead. Is that freaking cool or what, dude? Huh? That is awesome. That's a bobblehead. The sad part is that the Royals have to give, they have to like show bobbleheads from the past or whatever because their present absolutely sucks. But I thought that was cool as shit that they were giving away bobbleheads yesterday from Bo Jackson and running up the wall. That is fantastic. I see Jamie Zorria on a little roll call. He is number 1. Fins Nation from San Jose. It's hump day. Remember to smash the like button, people, and fins up. John Clapp is in, man, walking up, looking for every piece of info on the Fins. It's like Christmas morning every morning from now till it starts. Have a good show. Thank you, John. John Padilla in the house. Jay Gelfin is in. Giovanni, Lisa, Steve, Nelson, Mickey, Nyborg, Gus 1388, Zuko, Ragin, Brett, Noel, Isaiah, Jonathan, Alexis, thank you, Frankie. Appreciate all of you out there. As always, on the chat board, don't forget to smash the hell out of the like button. Always important to smash the like button, por favor. Anyway, we got the Marlins losing. Speaking of baseball, since we went from Bo Jackson, and there's the Youth Fair Day at Lone Depot Park. Marlins lose yesterday to the Cards 5-3. Today's 2:15. They got to try to avoid the sweep, and Sandy is on the mound. Dakota Hudson will be on the mound for the Cardinals. He's actually he's only pitched a little bit, but he's 1-0 with a 1.80 ERA. So Sandy needs to be on his A game today. Arraez, by the way, he's struggling down to 376 on 1 of 4 last night with an RBI. They are now 9 games over 500. They are no longer the number 1 wild card spot. They are no longer the number 2 wild card spot. In fact, they are now half a game behind the second wild card spot, and they've got another team in front of them. Okay, that they have to leap, all within reach, of course. But my point is, there is a little bit of a funk going on here. You got swept, and now you're playing a bad team, and now you've lost 2 of the first 3 games against a bad team, because these are the games that you gotta. This is what's kept you alive. Actually, the bad teams. So you're no longer the wild card spot. And remember what I've talked about here the last couple of months, that the good thing is that you're playing well. This will force the hand of the owner to see what kind of commitment do you really have. And he talked about that he would be willing to spend. Well, guess what? If you're willing to spend towards the end of the month, because July 31st obviously is the first deadline, the non-waiver trading deadline, right? There's another one at the following month on the 31st, leading into September 1st. But that one is, you have to clear waivers. That one's a little bit more complicated. But this one here now, well, maybe you don't have enough. So what are you going to do, Bruce Sherman? Are you going to give Kim Eng the resources she needs in order to go out and get some help? So either you had to do something at the deadline to maintain the pace that you had, or now you're starting to fall behind a little bit here. No need to panic yet, but if this thing continues, you're going to have to do something about it. And so this is the good thing. And we've been talking about this for 2 months now, because we've watched this before where you develop some players, young players, they come through your system, but then eventually they don't really re-sign and they move on. So you're developing some young players, some nice pieces. One was on the mound last night. So the question is, are you going to re-sign these people? Are you going to keep them? Are you going to build a core? Are you committed to – I know you can't spend like the Astros and the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Cubs. I get all of that. I'm not asking you to do that because that's not realistic. But I am asking you, you're going to have to be somewhat competitive. So this is the good thing about what's going on here. One way or another, you are going to have to make a move. Now, if things are going so well for you, by the time July 31st rolls around, some of you might have let them off the hook, even if they didn't do a move, because you would have said, well, they're doing well. They're 14, 15 games above 500, 16 games above 500. They're well into the wild card spot and challenging the Braves and keeping pace at least. They didn't need to make a move. We understand. This little skid here adds a little spice to it, and maybe it also sends the message that, hey, it was a nice start, but you're really not good enough, which is kind of what we all thought anyway, but they played over their heads. So now what do you do from here, from the 19th to the 31st? What do you do, Bruce Sherman? Show us. Okay, show us your. I know what Viola and Sifu are doing. They're committed. I know Stephen Ross is committed. I know Mickey Harrison is committed. I know, my God, the Moss brothers. I mean, they didn't even need the Messi shit to prove that they were committed. Nobody builds a stadium for fun like they did in Fort Lauderdale. They were overcommitted already a long time ago. They do need to get organized. They still need to become a good soccer organization. They suck, okay? Just because I got nothing but love for Jorge Mas and the Mas family, and I root for them and all that. My job here is to be objective, and I don't kiss anyone's ass. Nobody. I call it like I see it for all sports teams, okay? Inter Miami is a joke of a franchise, okay? They need to get their shit straight when it comes to soccer, okay? And then they need to get their shit straight when it comes to actually presentation, because it's freaking horrible, okay? Not letting them off the hook there. Great that you got Alba and great that you got Messi, and that's money and power. You already showed me that. You built a stadium in 8 months. You know, you got the deal done in Miami, and eventually you'll get Freedom Park. I don't need power and money. I know you got that. Show me that you can be good soccer people, because it doesn't take a genius to bring Jordi Alba or who else is coming besides Busquets. That doesn't take skill. There's no skill there, Okay? Skill is drafting better, developing, building a core, because Messi's playing with a lot of mediocre crap. So much that, you may have to bring, you're bringing Diego Gomez now, that, or Luis Suarez. They may change the rules for you. There's no skill there. Okay? So as much as I know they're committed, and they are, the Moss brothers are as committed as it gets, they still have to become a better organization. Okay? So let's find out. Everybody else has shown me commitment in town, except the Marlins. They have shown no commitment to winning whatsoever. Here you go. Now you get the opportunity to show me the commitment to winning. We'll see what happens. What else do we have going on? Speaking of soccer, we've got Drive Pink Stadium on Friday night, 8 o'clock, the League's Cup, Inter Miami hosting Cruz Azul. By the way, I was thinking about this. Messi's probably going to play 30 minutes, maybe a half. I doubt he even gets to a half because he's been, off for a while now and vacationing and all that. But, man, think about this. Let's say he plays 25, 30 minutes. Okay? I don't know if he gets to even a half. That's a lot of money people paid to see him. Holy shit. Wow, and Jordy just got here, so he's not going to play yet. And Busquets just got here. How many minutes is he going to play? This is why you needed to be a better soccer organization. So that way, when Messi and these guys aren't playing, you're still a really good team, and you can go out and beat Cruz Azul. You know what I'm saying? But it's a lot of pressure on Messi right now. And I saw how Beckham was trying to put out the fire yesterday a little bit, like, hey, even if he's Messi, he's going to need some time which is true, by the way. He's going to need time to adjust and get used to playing on this pitch, this style, these players, all of that stuff. There's no way, a couple of days of practice, he's going to be in form and he's going to be comfortable with everybody. He doesn't even know most of these guys. And he's playing with the least talented team he's ever played with. This is also something new to Messi, where he has to kind of lift. He had stars always around him. He doesn't have a bunch of stars around him anymore. This will be very interesting. But I'm just wondering, if you paid $300, $500, $1,000 for the ticket, is it still worth it if Messi only plays 30 minutes? I'm just wondering. It's just kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of money that you're paying just to see him for a few minutes. It's kind of like an exhibition almost. Be very interesting. Anyway, the good news is on the Inter Miami front, we talked a little bit about it. Sean noted it when it came up yesterday. If they get to the finals of the U.S. Open Cup, they're in the semifinals. They might play it at Hard Rock Stadium, and that stadium will be packed. That'll be pretty good. Today, they're going to sign Jordi Alba, make it official. They've also agreed to a deal with 20-year-old Paraguayan midfielder Diego Gomez. I have no idea how good this kid is, but he's young, so that's pretty cool. And then a 20-year-old Argentine midfielder, they call him a wonder kid. Again, I don't know anything about this kid. Facundo Farias. So the double F. I do like the fact that they're young guys. That's actually pretty cool, and who knows? And then they say the rules for designated players could change. Now, Miami did try to do that the first year when they had 5 designated players, and they got, fined for it. And so that's where the Luis Suarez story comes out, that the earbiter may come here because they may expand the rules now. And I know George has been big on that because he wants to spend. The Moss brothers are not going to give. Brother, there's nothing cheap about what they do. They got to handle some other things, but that's not because they're being cheap. They're just being irresponsible on the presentation side. But, we'll see. But they will spend, man. They are going to spend. bring Luis Suarez here. That would make this team a freaking powerhouse. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. So that's what you got going on Inter Miami. By the way, at 10:30, at 11 o'clock, Matt Verderam is set to join us here on the program. NorCal is in. Good morning. Carson Louders is in. Carson says, I can't wait to see Messi grab a ticket. Gonna be awesome. Florida vacation from Spokane, baby. Have you bought it already? You better buy it already. The Wayne D experience is in. Yes, I saw it, Jose. I just talked about it. Carson says, my Seahawks are going to be good. Can't wait. Our offense is scary. You know, I gotta see the quarterback do it again. Gino did it 1 year. And now he's got to do it again to kind of be believed that last year wasn't just an aberration, because he's never played like that in his career. So now that you've got a whole year, you've got the tape, you've got whatever he's succeeded on, let's see what happens with Gino this year. That's the only trepidations I have. You know, it's easy to root for Gino because he's a good dude, a South Florida kid and all that, but kind of got to see it again before I truly believe that, you know, the late bloomer broke through. Farias is fire, according to Frankie. I'll take your word for it, my brother. I can't say I know. So definitely take your word for it. Anthony says, Big O, insane. Want to take my girl to see Barbie this weekend. It's rated 93% on Rotten Tomatoes and at a landmark theater sold out all weekend. LOL. I think this movie is going to break box office numbers. Well, they say that in Oppenheimer, right? Are going to be like the top dogs of the summer. I do want to see Oppenheimer. I have no intentions on seeing Barbie. I get it. You're going for your girl. But yeah, I have no intentions on seeing Barbie. You could never catch me dead there. But the Oppenheimer one might get me to the theaters. That's got an all-star cast. Woo! Brett Campbell, the legend, says, Morning O, all this talk about Cook is annoying me as F. I'm still the fence about the move. Oh, you're still on the fence about the move. Don't mind the low-hanging fruit, but don't want to spend money at running back. What are the knocks on Cook? Brett, there are no knocks. You know, he hasn't been the most durable player. He's missed like 27 games in his entire career. So he misses games every year, but there is no knock here, my man, because he's coming down at our price. Like I told you, like I've said from the get-go, that if he signs with the Dolphins, he signs on a team-friendly deal. There will be no big money and there will be no big contracts or no trades or anything like that. So the way the Dolphins, if they acquire Cook, which I think they will next week, I think next week he signs and he bites the bullet and says, I'm not going to New York. I'm not going to buy another house or rent a condo there and pay the taxes and pay and get less money and pay in salary. I'm not going back to Minnesota to be a backup. I'll just go to Miami for a year and hope for the best. He has to look around and see what's going on with Saquon and everybody else. You know, here's Austin Eckler demanding to hear from the league on what's going on with running backs. And I've got plenty to say on that later. But yeah, there's the way the Dolphins are doing it, which is the right way. There's no knock on it at all. They're not going to pay him a crazy amount of money. So if he happens to get injured or whatever, you just move on, dude. And you're loaded. You have 4 other backs because Gaskin, I would imagine, is the guy out. So it's either Cook or Ahmed, or you keep both. One of the two. But if you keep Cook and you release Ahmed, you still have 3 other backs. So there is the way the Dolphins are doing it. I love it, man. I love it. It's gone like clockwork. Okay. Frankie Fresco already strong with a super chat. Says AEW Wednesday Blood and Guts. Team Claudio Wheeler versus Yuta Takashita Moxley and Pac versus Team Kenny Omega Hangman Nick and Matt Jackson and Kota Ibushi or El Bushi? El Bushi. El Bushi? Is that what it is?
Bushi, yeah.
You're saying Bushi or El Bushi? Because there's an L in front of the Bushi.
No, it's I. It's capital I. Ibushi.
Oh, it's Ibushi. Okay. I don't know. Okay.
And I'm also probably saying it wrong, but it's something like that.
Last night, our top 5 list was good. I caught some of it. I didn't catch the whole thing because I was watching quarterbacks last night, actually. So first of all, okay, Claudio Wheeler, Yuta Takashita, Moxley, and Pac versus Kenny Omega, Hangman Nick, and Matt Jackson and Kota Ibushi.
It's 5-on-5 inside this 2-ring steel cage match.
So is a soccer 5-on-5, 5v5? Yes. Is that what we're doing? Is it going to be a tropical park? They've got the 5v5 there.
No, it is not. It is.
No, it's not.
No, it's not a tropical park.
It's not a tropical park. Okay. All right. Is it Wynwood? They've got 5v5 over at Wynwood.
Not at Wynwood either. No.
Okay.
It's not local.
Oh, it's not local. Okay. Just checking. Well, Frankie, I got to tell you something. First of all, I'm going to go with anything that has a hangman and an Ibushi. I've got to lean to that. You know, because the Ibushi is just going to like stick a bush in your face, and then the hangman's going to hang you, so it's going to be over. Action Jackson is there, of course, because it's not really Matt. It's Matt Action Jackson that's there overall. And nobody's really going to kill this Kenny on this side. So I just got to think that anything named Claudio is not really a wrestler. That's like a Spanish singer. I mean, Claudio? Who names a wrestler Claudio? Come on, bro. That's something that I'm supposed to hear on some Spanish. What's that again? What?
He's the Swiss Superman.
And there you go.
Castagnoli.
And there you go. A Superman made of Swiss cheese. That's just an oxymoron. It doesn't fly. Swiss cheese and Superman? Come on. That just doesn't go. Wheeler, I remember Clint Wheeler from the Miami Heat. Now, that Clint Wheeler was a badass. This Wheeler, well, they're just going to roll all over him. Okay, and Takashita, come on, dude. Takashita looks like, that sounds like he's supposed to be a world-class ping pong player. Okay, so I am going with Team Kenny, Omega Hangman, Action Jackson, and anything named Ibushi. So there you go. That's my prediction. What am I getting, a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Wow, I got a thumbs up from Sean. There you go. What do you think, Frankie? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
I honestly just want this thing to be over with.
My predictions?
No, the 5 on this damn blood and guts whole angle.
Gordon Shumway, thank you for the love on the super chat. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. And you can make a Bitcoin donation. Do it now before it explodes, because it is about to pump. Gordon says, if you get a chance, when Verderam is on, ask him about his 5-minute rule in soccer and the awesome theatrics. Hopefully he remembers. Okay, let me see. I will ask it. I wrote it down. We are set. Thank you, Gordon, for the love on the super chat. Very nice of you. Ragin says, if it's true Cook was offered $7 million to go back to Minnesota, I doubt he's coming to the Fins. Ragin, he's not going back. That's like me going to QAM to be a producer. He's not doing that. He's just not. So forget about that. He's not. There's no way he goes back to become a backup. Dude, before they released him, they put out the billboard for the following season for season ticket holders and all that. They took Cook off and put Alexander Mattison already. They gave him a contract extension in the offseason. They did everything opposite to Dalvin Cook. Oh, we're taking you off the marquee. We have a new starting running back, and we're cutting you. So, well, here's $7 million because we got plenty of cap space. We really didn't have to cut you, but we needed to send the message that you're no longer the guy, so we had to cut you. But now we're willing to bring you back as a backup. I don't – if Dalvin Cook does that, he has no scruples. Okay? If I go back to QAM to become a producer, I have no scruples. So I'm not sure if you've ever been fired from somewhere, but if you've been fired from somewhere and then they offer you a lesser job because they thought so less of you that they had to fire you, and then what they really think of you, this is what they offer you, and you're willing to take it, you know. So if you have any self-respect for yourself, even if it's $7 million and you're only making $4.5 million in Florida, no state tax, so it's still kind of closer than what you think. You already have a house in Florida that you've paid for. So everything else you do in New York and Minnesota are extra expenses. So it starts to, the balancing out. Let's say if Miami's offering 4.5, 5, and you're getting 7, it doesn't really the ego of, oh, they're still paying me. I'll end up making $600,000 more in Minnesota, but to be the backup where I could be in Miami, where I actually could have a chance to win a Super Bowl with my hometown team and all that stuff. See, Miami didn't lie to him from the beginning. That's the beauty of it. They told him, hey, listen, we've committed. We've got a bunch of guys. We would love to have you on, but you have to understand you're not going to be the bell cow. Here, you're going to be part of a team, part of a carousel of backs. We'd love to have you. See, at least from Miami's point of view, they come to him clean, honest, and tell him, listen, this is what you're going to do with us. So we're not going to offer you $7, $8, $9 million. We don't need a bell cow. We don't have bell cows here. So we would love to have you to help us. And, all of that, but we can't, we can only pay you this. And at least they've been honest with them from the get-go. The whole Minnesota situation, you go back to that and you're a man that doesn't have self-respect. So that's kind of the way I look at it, Raging. I'm kind of a prideful person. You know what I'm saying? I don't even take shit from people. I don't take shit from anybody, dude. I don't care if it's my boss. I don't care if it's anyone, dude. It doesn't matter to me. You know what I mean? I am who I am. The person you see on this mic is a person you'll get off the mic. Same person. I don't change. Ask Lisa Rose. Ask Sean Stanley. Ask Chris Syria. Ask NorCal. Ask any of the people that some of the people that follow the show. Jay Gelfin is on there. He knows me personally for years. Ask any of them. They'll tell you, I don't change. That's who I am. So I don't know. I don't think there's a chance in hell. The only reason the agent mentioned that was because they're so desperate that nobody's offered them deals outside of Miami and the Jets. That's it. But there's no way in hell his client goes back to Minnesota. No way in hell. And if he does, I would lose a lot of respect for him as a man. So, sounds like balls. Those people have no balls. I mean, it's just kind of the way I look at it. Tony says, Sportstradamus will be right yet again. I hope so. Brian understands, says, good point. Oh, that would be crazy for Cook to go back. Of course. NFL tried to make the Dolphins look like lowballers. Not here, baby. Stick strong, Greer. Yeah, there's no lowballing here, bro. Chris Greer is dealing from a position of strength, and he should. Okay? He should. Just like when you call my friends at Cutter's Edge Pro, William and Mike, all of a sudden your home will be dealing from a position of leverage. Why? Because once you add landscaping to your home, the value of your home skyrockets. Once you add landscaping to your business, it skyrockets. Once you add it to your HOA, condominium complex, those kind of, again, not only does it look great, the presentation for your home, your business, your HOA, but also the value skyrockets because people look at your home differently when you do those kind of things. And this is why I tell you all the time, Cutter's Edge Pro. And for those of you that are dog lovers like we are in our home, and we have a bunch of dogs, okay, the artificial turf is a savior in the backyard. Super easy to manage. I can't tell you how easy it is to manage. And the way it was engineered in our yard, I love it because it has a slope, right? And from the back of our house, it slopes downward and it goes right in to all of the what's it called? Landscaping, into the trees, the bushes, everything that we have. And it is fantastic. So when it rains, it drains. And when it rains, it drains and it goes right in to the flowers, to the trees, to the bushes, and all that kind of stuff. It is so genius the way they do it, and it drains quickly, and no grass is growing through the artificial. Because, listen, there are other people that install artificial turf, and they do a really cheesy job. 6 months later, you got grass going through it because they did not clear the bottom like they're supposed to and pack it the way these guys double and triple pack it. I don't know what they do, but they kill everything underneath to make sure nothing grows. And then that artificial turf is just a beautiful thing, and it drains so easily too. Every time. Yesterday, we had a nice little downpour. Almost every other day, we've had these downpours. And you see it drain right away, man. It's a beautiful thing. This is why I tell you, call my friends at Cutter's Edge Pro. Tree trimming and removals. We're in storm season, so let's get rid of all that extra stuff. And don't you climb ladders and get on roofs. Call professionals to do it. Landscaping, outdoor lighting, irrigation, synthetic turf. 954-472-0622. Anywhere in South Florida, 954-472-0622. for cuttersedgepro.com. All right. By the way, what's up with Miranda Lambert? What's up her ass? So she's performing, and apparently there's a couple of ladies in the front that are taking selfies, like how people take selfies with the artist behind them, right? And she stops the middle of the concert to call out. Listen, man, I've been to a lot of concerts, okay? I've never seen this. And she stops her song because she's bothered that these ladies are taking a selfie during her singing. Now, I want to remind you something. The ladies that she chastised up front, the average price of those tickets are $700. Now, listen, if you're not hurting anybody, you can do whatever the hell you want when you buy your ticket. You want to take a selfie? You want to take a video? You want to take a picture? You want to check your messages? You want to eat? You want to drink? You want to dance? You want to do whatever the hell you want? Do it, man. You paid your money. So whether you're in the front row paying $700 or you're in the second level, okay, back in the back bowl, smoking a bowl, hey, man, you paid your entrance. You're there. Miranda Lambert got what she wanted. You paid the $700 per ticket. And this loser is going to stop her concert to call those people out. Dude, I can't tell you how out of place she is. Apparently, some fans started to walk out right after that, too, because the arrogance from this loser is just despicable, to be quite honest. Okay? You're a paying customer. Listen, I'm not telling you to throw phones at people or none of that. You can't be hurting people. But if you bought your ticket and you want to take a selfie, keep singing, Miranda. Shut the hell up and sing. Some people are going to be watching you and they're going to be glued to you. Some people are going to be filming you. Some people are going to take pictures. Some people may have to check their messages. Some people make a social media post. Somebody else is guzzling a couple of beers. Somebody else is stuffing their face with a hamburger. It's your right. Some people are going to go take a leak. I don't know. Maybe Billy Joel gets pissed at me. But every time he plays We Didn't Start the Fire, I walk the hell out of the arena to go buy my shirt. I hate that song. And I love Billy Joel. I love all of Billy Joel's music except that effing song. But I paid my ticket to be at Billy Joel. I paid for mine. I paid for my wife's. I paid for my daughter's. I paid for my mother. But anyway, I paid for the ticket. So if I feel like walking out on We Didn't Start the Fire because that's the only song that I can't freaking stand from Billy Joel. I hate that song. I love Jefferson Starship Airplane. If you play We Built This City, I want to punch you in the face. Listen to me. You can play Stranger and Jane and White Rabbit, and we can play anything you want. You play We Built This City, and I'm pissed. Just the way it is. So if I went to see a Jefferson Starship concert and you played We Built This City, at that moment, I'm going to go take a leak. It's my right. I paid the ticket. So that shit that Miranda Lambert pulled is crap, dude. And she needs to correct herself with the quickness. She needs to apologize to fans. She needs to be appreciative. And by the way, those ladies talked about it at before the show. The lighting was all screwed up and they couldn't take the selfie. So when the concert started, the lighting was actually better for them to take the selfie. And then they were trying to get the right selfie. And then there she is calling them out in the middle of the concert. And these women are paying $700 a ticket. First of all, I think those women are insane to pay for her, because I'm not a Miranda Lambert fan, period, as it is. But to pay $700, well, you must be one hell of a fan. But after that, I would never be a fan of that woman ever again. She is way out of line. Okay? I mean, way out of line. I feel like the cop telling Newborn Turk, this is way out of line. You squirrels better have some nuts or you're going to jail. I just lost 99% of you on that one. Anyway. Josh says if Cook was to win the Super Bowl here, he would be smart and come to Miami and take the money that the Dolphins are offering. Cannot be picky. I agree. Oh, does Dan Le Batard speak for the Heat? Word is he talks directly with Riley. Dan's connected. Dan has his sources. I don't know if you guys know, but Dan's broken stories forever. So Dan Le Batard's not going to pull shit out of his ass. All right. Sometimes we have to compartmentalize the Dan Le Batard show. Okay. Because the Dan Le Batard show is a monster, right? And then some people get caught up with, all the silliness that they're doing. They're talking about their personal lives and all that other stuff. But when they want to talk about sports, right, and they get into sports talk, all right, which is not something that, Dan's not Mr. Sports Talk because he's not, like I am, in other words, right? He's not a total sports geek like I am. But whenever he does get into it, it's always going to be substance. Always. And if he throws any news out there, I don't know exactly what you're talking about. So I don't know specifically. I didn't hear what you're talking about. So I don't know what he said. But if he tells you that it's news, I'm not saying some opinion or something like that, because we all have them. And he could, again, I don't know what you're talking about specifically. But if he told you whatever it is that you were listening and he told you it was newsworthy or whatever, then yes, you believe him. Dan's not making shit up, dude. I've known Dan for more than 30 years now. Because he used to come onto my Spanish show over 30 years ago. So he's a great dude, man. Great dude. Okay? Great dude. Different kind of show and all that kind of stuff. But when they want to talk sports and when they want to get into things, they do an amazing job. There's a reason why that platform has exploded, and God bless him. He got away from the corporate world, dude. Good for him. The only thing that I don't watch it as, that often. He's on a lot, when we are. And then once in a while I'll catch on YouTube some of the clips. The sad part is I see David Sampson there. It's like I can't even watch it. Like the second I see his face, it's like, yeah, no, I'm not interested. I'm gone. Like zero credibility there. You know what I mean? That's the only thing I would say that. Anyway. Wondering if the artificial turf is suitable for humans that enjoy using the bathroom outdoors. Yes, I guess so. Yes. Yes. You can pee wherever you want. Yes. Lambert is not good enough to behave that way. She did one good album 10 years ago. That's no way to treat your fans to keep your business. Listen, I'm not a Miranda Lambert fan. Nobody's good enough to treat you that way. Somebody in the front row is taking a selfie. First of all, you got to have the wherewithal of that person paid a lot of money to see me, because those tickets are expensive. And I can't imagine how Miranda Lambert concert tickets are $700. I didn't pay that for U2. Not even close. Miranda Lambert couldn't lick Bono's bottom of his shoe, dude. Okay? Half a song from the album Boy is better than the entire career of Miranda Lambert. And I didn't even come close. I'll say it now. These idiots paid $700 to watch Miranda Lambert in the front row. I will be on the floor in the Sphere for $250. Okay? And I think $250 is a lot of money. A lot of money. But I'm watching U2 at the Sphere in Vegas. Anything U2 has done, any song, any guitar lick that Edge came up with, just the guitar lick from Bullet the Blue Sky is better than anything Miranda Lambert ever created. And Bono would never do that to people in the front row. So, to me, Miranda Lambert, hey, man, to each his own, but $700 for a ticket for Miranda Lambert? to me, that's a bigger indictment than Miranda Lambert even just running her mouth, to be quite honest. I get it. Everybody has their own taste and whatever floats your boat, but Jesus Christ. What I'm paying for U2 and those people paid for Miranda Lambert, my God. Miranda Lambert couldn't run the drum pedal for U2 at all. She's not even allowed to hit one key on a keyboard, period. Miranda Lambert. Jesus Christ. Miami is getting superstars all around. We got Messi, Kachuk, Hill. Now we're going to get Dame and Shohei. Big O, I heard Sean brought a Dirty Dom shirt. You bought a Dirty Dom shirt? I don't know what that means.
No, I did not get a Dirty Dom shirt. I have to go get a new tablet after the show because I broke mine when he won last night.
Okay. All right. Can I tell you what's about to happen, and it's going to change the way you watch sports television? And it's happening this training camp. So, Sean, did you hear about the Jets putting limitations on Hard Knocks? So let me ask you something. What do you think is going to be the repercussions after the Jets say, no, you can't film the cuts anymore? We're not allowing you. What do you think is going to happen to the next team that does it next year? And the team that does it the year after that? And the team that does it the year after that? What do you think is going to happen, Sean? Take a guess. Will we ever see the cuts again?
Nope.
Nobody's talking about that. They're just talking about the short term. Oh, the Jets are going to limit this, that, Aaron Rodgers. Well, what the Jets are going to end up doing is setting a precedent. And then other teams are going to say, well, you want us on? That's fine, but we're going to limit this. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. They don't like distractions. You just ran into the number one sport in all of pro sports in America that hates distractions more than any. Pro football. And Hard Knocks has been a distraction for every team that takes over. When they took over for the Joe Philbin year, we were like, oh my God, oh no. Oh God, they're going to see what a dysfunction we are. And what did they find out? What a dysfunction the Miami Dolphins were. You knew it and I knew it. And, hey, I got to call my grandma. Done. Because once the Jets say no, everyone else is going to say, no, man, you didn't do it for the Jets. You're not embarrassing our players. You're not putting our coaches in a tough position in a moment where we're cutting somebody and we're ending their dreams. No, we're not doing it. No, you set the precedent with the Jets. So the NFL and Hard Knocks, this is what people aren't talking about. This is something that they better be careful, because once the Jets cross that threshold, whatever threshold it is, everyone else is going to be taking notes. And they're going to say, well, you didn't film that. We're not going to let you film it either. And that's it. And what's the NFL going to do? You're going to fine? They can write the check. But the precedent was set already. So for those of you that like that's kind of what Hard Knocks is all about, is the raw part of Hard Knocks. The emotion that comes with Hard Knocks when somebody has success, when somebody has failure, when there's an injury, when there's a funny moment, all those kind of things. So when you got to sing in front of the team and, you're the defensive end from the Lions, I forgot his name now, and you're doing the Michael Jackson thing, right? Billie Jean and all that, right? It was pretty cool. It was fun. maybe you'll still get those kind of moments, but the other moments that you've gotten where players are getting cut and those kind of things, well, now this is what we call a precedent that is being set by the Jets. And it could be the beginning of the end for Hard Knocks, by the way. Because if you take away those moments, you take away the series, basically. You water it down to a point that it will be unwatchable. Kind of like Pat Mahomes' wife and players in the quarterbacks thing. All right. Yeah, Sean, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say it starts with this, and then the next team's like, well, you took the, the cuts out, but we also want to add this to get taken out. And then by the end, like you're saying, it's could be the beginning of the end for Hard Knocks, because everybody's going to want certain things taken out. And if you took this out for them, you need to take it out for us. Plus, we need to take this out or whatever.
And we're an ultra sensitive society. So here we go. Here we go. So that's what I would be more worried about. It's not so much that the Jets are cutting it out now. It's what it's going to lead to cut out it overall over the next couple of years. I'm going to be very interested to see what the NFL does, if they try to intervene, if they try to make some changes, if they force the Jets to do something, because if you don't, then that opens it up for the next team to do a lot of the same things. Let's see. Cristo Mako, thank you for the love in the super chat. He said, thanks for the show. Ever seen Shinedown? Yes, I have. I've seen Shinedown several times. They are worth it. They're good. I've seen Shinedown a couple times. If you like Shinedown's music, you will definitely enjoy them live. That's all I can tell you. Okay? That's bottom line. If you like them, you will definitely enjoy the hell out of them live. They're really good live. They do an excellent job. So yes, go see Shinedown. I would definitely suggest that. And they still sound great also. They're not that old. I mean, they're from the 90s. They're not that old. I actually agree with the Jets. Can't believe I said that. Showing players getting cut is disrespectful and humiliating. It's true. It's true. It is. Let's see what else. Bret Hart, one of the best technical wrestlers of all time, was proudest of never injuring anyone in the ring. Then that means he was a great wrestler, right? Because the way you have to stage these kind of things, and it's kind of like it's kind of a coordination type of thing. Because I've heard Sean talk about how, I don't know, it was like a year ago, he was talking about somebody that the guy didn't flip him over right, and he landed the wrong way and messed up his neck or something. You remember you told me about somebody like that? I forgot who it was.
Yeah, it was Ridge Holland and Big E. It was a combination of things. Big E didn't put enough oomph in his jump, and Ridge Holland didn't transfer him over enough, and he landed around his head.
Right, exactly. So yeah, there has to be, obviously, if you never injured somebody, then you did your role at an exceptional level. Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
The ironic thing for Bret Hart was he was kicked in the head by Goldberg and ended his career.
Wow. It's crazy. All right, let's do it. Let's get our number 2 going. Matt Verderam is ready to rock and roll. Our number 2 is next.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Miles an hour, that's a Category 4 hurricane. 3 deaths are reported in Florida after more than 24 were killed in the Caribbean. This
With more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes, Welton Rayom is committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle, slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. That's 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help. The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Okay. All right. There we go. Damn, that thing got cut off or something. That was weird. Anyway, afternoon, my brother. How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm refreshed from vacation. How are you doing?
Very good. Very good. Did you watch the quarterbacks series on Netflix?
I did.
Yeah. It's pretty good. It's not as great as people make it out to be. Like some people are like going overboard with it.
Right.
It was fun. It was entertaining. It had its moments. I like the personal moments, like the Mahomes going after the dude from the Raiders, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of moments that I kind of like, it's and Sean made a good point. They kind of got three levels of quarterbacks, like the stud, the guy that's good, that wants to kind of prove that he's a stud, and then the guy that's really like a fringe guy that's kind of hanging on. And that's kind of the part of the series that kind of turns me off a little bit, because Mariota's a guy I've never taken serious. I'm sorry. From Oregon, I just never took him serious. So it was just one of those where, but it has its moments. I don't know. What'd you think of it so far? Did you watch the whole thing?
I saw the whole thing. Yeah. I thought it was good. I agree. Look, it's not The Last Dance, where when you watch that, you were just like, oh my God, this is incredible. Look, they were very fortunate that Mahomes won the Super Bowl and then also had like a lot of drama in the playoffs with his ankle and everything else. And that really carried the last couple of episodes because Mariota just disappeared off the face of the earth in Atlanta. I mean, he's gone. Right. And Cousins, the hard thing is these guys almost can't be interesting because then the team's going to get pissed. And the team has veto power over what gets put out and what doesn't. So it becomes hard. It's harder to really get like if they do this again, which I know they're planning on doing, I'd love to see Dak Prescott in Dallas with Dallas and all the pressure that goes on there, right? But then it's like Dak's not going to say anything. Dak's going to sit there and do wallpaper,
Kirk Cousins is boring.
Yeah,
he's just because Kirk Cousins is just a good human being.
Yeah, he's just a guy. He's a good guy. It's like
it's not just a guy. He's a really good human being. You know what I'm saying? And in our world, a good human being is just,
he's there.
We've seen that guy. It's Tony Gwynn. It's Mark Brunell. It's Kurt Warner. It's Kurt Warner playing.
Yeah.
Kurt Warner, the analyst, is, bro, my God, he's completely different than the player. The player was boring as hell, dude. He was a terrific thrower, but Kirk Cousins falls in line with the Cal Ripkins of the world. Like when Cal was playing, he was just going to say and do the right thing. Derek Jeter.
I was just going to say Jeter, because I don't know if you saw ESPN did like a 10-part doc on him.
Yeah.
And I watched it, and I walked away from him saying it was a good job. I mean, by ESPN, they did a good job with it, but he's just boring. He doesn't want to say anything.
Mike Stanton is freaking, bro. The door of my studio has more personality than Mike Stanton.
Yeah, they just don't, and as well as I do. The second you can get them off the record, they're a whole lot different. But on the record, it's just going to be very, today especially is protective of their brand. Like now, you want to get somebody who's interesting. Baker Mayfield would be interesting.
Yeah, but he's got to be good.
Right, that's right. I mean, but like if he's the Mariota of next season, you're in business. Like you got to get. Now, I will say this. I tweeted this out, so I don't mind repeating it. I don't care even if he's on a team. I just want Carson Wentz just involved. Like because
well, that's but his brain is already on overload. That poor kid. You want to kill him, dude.
No, you remember when they did the Hard Knocks during the season with the Colts? And it got to a point where you could tell the coaches were like, you know what? After this year, we're good. Like, and it was so painful as the episodes went on. You're like, oh my God, like Frank Reich is ready to move on yesterday. Like that organization's ready, and it's just so I'm all for like Wentz, Mayfield, and then give me just somebody who's really good. Give me Burrow, give me Allen, give me whoever.
You just want like a trainer. You want trainer.
Yeah. I want complete debauchery.
You want the Kardashian episode of quarterbacks.
Yeah. I want it to be something where there's a chance somebody just stops filming halfway through, where they just like, okay, we're not going to do this anymore. All right. That
would be, that's pretty funny, man. That's pretty funny. All right. Let's, we got Hard Knocks now coming to the Jets, okay? Yeah. I talked about this before you came on. Here's what nobody's talking about and what we should be talking about and what the NFL needs to be worried about, my friend. And it's called precedent. It's not so much that the Jets are going to limit you to not see cuts.
Everybody else can do it now.
You have set the precedent. And everything that they limit the Hard Knocks to do, well, guess what, HBO? Guess what, NFL? The next team and the next team's going to say, well, nope, you didn't do it for them, and we think it's inhumane to show cutting and all that. And, in our oversensitive world as it is, which, by the way, it is kind of brutal to show somebody losing their jobs and getting their dreams cut, because that doesn't happen to us. When we get fired or let go, nobody's filming us. You know what I mean? So I do understand that side of the argument, but I just want you to know that what makes that show is all those kind of personal moments. And so whatever it is that the Jets will start to cut out, okay, whether it's access to the quarterback or access to the practice room or access to the meeting room or access to this or that, I'm just saying, precedent is a problem. It's a problem in life, in the courts, in everything. Once you set a precedent, people then follow it. So that is the thing that I think nobody is talking about, my friends.
It's a good point. It's a very good point. Oh, and I think you're right. Like next year now, let's just say whatever. Let's say it's the Raiders. Okay, just pick a team. You're right. They're going to say, well, the Jets didn't do it, so we don't have to do it. And we're not going to do it. And HBO, that's a tough spot because for HBO, like you need a team. You can't take a year off. That's death to the programming. But at the same point, if I'm HBO, I'm pushing the NFL. Like, listen, I don't care what the Jets say. You guys can tell the Jets what is going to happen. I mean, this is the National Football League, but the NFL doesn't seem interested in really pushing the envelope. I guess there's a part of me too with the Jets. It's like I don't even mind they don't show guys getting cut. Like, listen, you don't have to show that exact moment. That's fine. But who are the Jets to just all of a sudden put a line in the sand here and be like, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that? Like, who cares? You're no different than any other team that's come in the last 15 years. Right.
And by the way, you're like everybody else. You don't make the playoffs, and this is why you put yourself in this position, dude. I mean, so suck it up, and that's it. Be a better franchise.
I don't get it. And I remember visiting, because when they did it last, they had Rex Ryan as their head coach. And I was, I think, in college, and they basically practiced on the road from me up in Cortland, New York, and we used to go there all the time, watching practice, hang out, whatever. Like, to me, they loved it at the time. They thought it was interesting. Now, of course, this is an entirely different regime. Aaron Rodgers is already complaining, but I got news for Aaron Rodgers, by the way, which is another thing nobody's talking about. So everybody's like, well, he's saying that this is being pushed down their throat. He doesn't like the coverage they're getting with HBO. Wait till the season starts. Okay. And you've got about 40 different news outlets just jamming a camera in your face and jamming a mic in your face. And they don't care if they tick you off, because what does it matter to the New York Daily News? This isn't some small outlet in Green Bay that desperately needs you. They don't. So, you think about New York in the fall, you got the Jets, the Giants, you've got the Knicks who are good, you've got the Rangers who are good, right? I mean, that is to say nothing if the Yankees figure it out and get going. Like, you have all these outlets in New York. This isn't Green Bay where all they have is the Packers. Like, they will just go after him for fun. I mean, it'll be like a sport with some of these guys to see what they can get him to say. So if he doesn't like Hard Knocks, okay, good luck to you come September.
Will you predict anyone holding out at the running back spot, or has this been such a sledgehammer of an off season that if you didn't get the message by now, you're really stupid? So what do you think happens here? Does anybody really hold out after, hell, even Le'Veon Bell came out of nowhere to remind everybody of his stupidity and even apologize about his stupidity, which, whatever, bro, whatever makes you feel better about it, but it's a little too late now at this point. But I'm just wondering, after everything that's happened, does somebody hold out when it's all said and done in week one?
No. None of these guys are giving up money. I mean, Jacobs and Barkley, if they want to, sure, they can sit out as long as they want. I mean, Pollard, they haven't signed the tag, so they can. Pollard sit out. Yes, I was just going to say Pollard actually did sign the tag, so he can't sit out because he'd get fined. Barkley and Jacobs have not signed the tag, and so they're not eligible to be fined because they're not technically on the roster, although they do count against the 90-man spot. They count against the cap, but they're not signed to the roster technically, so they can't be fined. They can sit there as long as they want. Now, the problem becomes if you sit out week one, you start losing game checks. Okay. And that's where that's going to stop. I would not be surprised at all if these dudes don't show up till September 1st. But
except frankly, Pollard has to show up. He has no choice.
I'm just talking about Barkley.
Pollard has to show up anyway. You know why? He didn't get taken early like the other guys. They made a little money. Yes. Pollard really has not made any money. So for him, the tag is like, all right, dude.
It's great. But I'm just talking strictly about Barkley and Jacobs.
No, you're right.
September 1st is probably the day. Like, if I'm both of them, that's when I'm showing up. Give me 10 days worth of practice or whatever and get me out there. I mean, the team. And what kills me is, like, with Jacobs, the Raiders were only in this position because they declined his option. Right. They could have had him for another year, but then they declined it. Then, actually, never mind. We'd like to have you back. The bottom line, all this stuff about the running backs, let's just be really honest about this. Do they deserve, based on their play, to get better compensated? Yeah, they do. But they're not gonna, because there are a million running backs. It is the law of supply and demand. There are a million guys who can go into the NFL, not a million, but 50 guys who could go into the NFL and be a decent running back. There are not 50 guys who can play quarterback at a high level. There are not, if you have two receivers on the field, 100 receivers, 150 receivers who can do it at a decent level. Running backs, they're interchangeable, a lot of them. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And most of them. And the thing that cracks me up is when you hear this stuff like, well, and maybe they're all going to get together. They're not all going to get together and sit out. They got to get paid. Isaiah Pacheco's a 7th-round pick. You think he's not showing up? I mean, come on. Like, what world do some of these people live in?
The game is evolving. The world is evolving. Things change. And in football, unfortunately for football players and especially for running backs, your value is not the same anymore. And that's just what it is. So if you want to play the game at that position, you're going to have to live with it. So let me ask you something, because I made these notes. Okay. So are you crying for cashiers at McDonald's? Because they've got kiosks. They've got kiosks now, baby. Yep. They've got apps now. They're taking those people out. Nobody's collecting your tolls anymore. What happened to those people? Right. We have a restaurant here called Sergio's. They have electronic waiters that bring you the food. So are you crying for those waiters? Because, by the way, does a guy get off the garbage truck to grab your can and throw it in the truck? Or is it a
automatic thing that picks up the garbage can and throws it right over and then lays it right back down again. You know, you can start looking around all over the place. AI is going to replace so many people. The world evolves. And guess what? So do sports.
Right.
And the way things are evolving is that position is a transitory position. It's a position that is very interchangeable. And if you play it from here on out, you're going to have to understand that you are interchangeable. You don't have the same value anymore. And I'm not crying for you, bro, because that's life. And I can point at 50 other things that you used to do that there's no longer somebody there doing that anymore. When you call information and you call 411, it's an automated service. It's no longer somebody telling you, what number are you looking for when I was a kid? Okay? Shit changes.
Look at sports. Look at the three other major sports in America. Okay. So in basketball, when I was a kid in the 90s, if you didn't have a center, you were effed. That's just the way. I mean, every good team back then, except for the Bulls, ironically, even they had Cartwright, but like the Knicks had Ewing, the Spurs had Robinson, right? Olajuwon, and on and on and on and on. Every team had a big man. Kemp, Barkley, they weren't power forwards.
And you got to be able to play in the post.
You had to be. The game went through the post. The game went through the block. Now, nobody's paying those guys fortunes. Very few, right? And then Jokic, of course, is the obvious, like, him and Embiid, but like, they're it. They're it. Dwight Howard today, good luck. Like, what would you do with Dwight Howard? You wouldn't do anything with him. He'd be Mitch Robinson. He'd better than Mitch Robinson, but like, you get the idea. Like, he'd be.
Yeah.
In baseball, I grew up with guys who, like, big-time base stealers, couldn't hit a home run, but could hit 300. Those guys today are utility players. Those guys don't get on the field because everybody's mother's trying to hit the ball out. Right?
But like
yeah. I mean, right. You don't, I mean, that guy doesn't exist now. I mean, in hockey, there was a time when it didn't matter if you really weren't that good of a skater, as long as you were a big physical guy. In hockey, if you can't skate, you're not playing. You're not playing. The rules changed 20 years ago. You're screwed. You're not playing if you're big and slow.
Domi would have a problem in this league.
Well, you remember, I mean, look, every hockey team used to have a guy who was lovably like a goon, right? All they could do is go out and fight, and they protected your stars. That guy's gone. That guy's not in the league anymore. That guy couldn't play now. So the game does change. Now, of course, running backs all the fullback
in football
gone
was an enormous thing when we were all hell. You're talking to what part of the country? The Dolphins.
Yeah, right.
We may have one of the most famous fullbacks in the history of mankind.
Yeah,
and that's gone.
Look at even in the 90s, in the 2000s. Most tight ends were blocking tight ends. That was, I mean, the rare guy was the Shannon Sharp, the Ozzie Newsome. Now, I mean, Ozzie Newsome would fit in great today. At the time, he was a unicorn. But now, guys who were great blocking tight ends, and they were the coin of the realm at the time. You were a sixth offensive lineman. Every once in a while, he'd go out and third down, catch pass. That guy's gone.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Gronk could block, but Gronk wasn't getting all that playing time because you could block. Get that playing time, you could go for 1,100 yards and 20 touchdowns.
Yeah,
so it's just so different, and that's so nobody. I'll try to the run and shoot Oilers played with more than two receivers on most downs in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe Atlanta with June Jones, but like most teams now, everybody it's three receivers, right? I mean, you're 11 personnel are your starters, so. Look, that's just the way the game's gone, and it's cyclical. But right now, that's where the league's at.
Yeah. To me, it's just ridiculous. The crying going on. It's like, bro, the world evolves. Change with it. That's just the way it goes. Somebody asked me about your 5-minute rule in soccer. You want to enlighten us on that?
You know what? So this was from a podcast I did when I was at Fansided, and God, you know what? This was a while ago. So I was talking about the flopping in soccer drives me crazy, right? Like guys go down, they're holding their ankle like they got shot. They got to get carried off. They're on a stretcher. Then, of course, like the second they go,
This is why we should hate Vlade Divac.
Yeah,
he brought this
right.
to the NBA. He's patient zero, that asshole.
So if I remember this correctly, because it was a while ago, I think I said something like, "Look, if you go down and you need medical attention, you got to stay off the field for 5 minutes." No, I know the rule was actually, if you go down, you got to stay down on the field for 5 minutes. And if you're willing to stay down on the field for 5 minutes,
like
then because then your teammates are like, get up, we're down a man, and you're laying there holding your leg. Look, then he's injured. Then I'm all right with it. But if he's not down on the field for 5 minutes, he's not really hurt. Get up. You'd see all these guys stop flopping. Now, if a bone's sticking out, all right, we got to call time. But otherwise, like if that guy's on the ground face down, just play around him. Play around him, and at 5 minutes, we're going to call time.
Passing the ball over the guy.
But it drives me nuts. These guys are down. They got to go. It's stoppage time. The hell with that. If that guy's on the ground, leave him there. And if he stay down for 5 minutes, then you're all right. He's probably pretty freaking hurt, right? And his teammates are yelling at him, trying to drag him. You know, maybe the teammates would drag him, put him down in front of the goal line so that maybe ball comes in, he can make a save. Like that's where I'm at with this. Enough of this flopping stuff. Drives me nuts.
Well, I'm glad that the NBA at least is going to start fining people for flopping and all that kind of stuff, because it just gets to a point where it's so ridiculous. I get it that it's strategy because you're trying to sell, but really you're lying, or you're not really, it's the same thing in soccer. You're really lying. You're trying to deceive an official into giving a yellow or a red to somebody. To me, that's not right. I'm with you there. And the funny part, what's disappeared was the magic spray.
Yeah.
Disappeared. What happened to the magic spray, dude? Nobody whips out the can anymore. Shh. And then the guy just pops up and starts running like a deer.
To me, it's so embarrassing. I can't picture any scenario that I would be like, yeah, this actually is good for me. I'm going to lay down like I was hit by a Mack truck. And then, oh, by the way, I'm good to go 15 seconds later. Like, to me, it's just shameful almost. Like, and a guy like the size of LeBron in the NBA getting, just goes down. Like, come on, stop. If that happened in the 80s, there would have been a full-blown fist fight every night because of the embarrassment level of it. And now it's like just accepted. It needs to stop in all sports.
In soccer, everybody's Paul Pierce. They go down with a wheelchair and they come out running like a deer.
The wheelchair is the best one ever. He's going out like you looked like a Civil War victim, right? They're trying to get him off the battlefield as quick as possible. They've got the gurney with the wheels, and all of a sudden, 5 minutes later, he's back out there. And people. But then the thing that really gets me are the people who are like, "It was heroic." I'm like, it wasn't heroic. He was fine. He was completely fine. Jack Youngblood played with a broken leg. Okay, that's the sports version of heroic.
Yes.
Paul Pierce getting wheeled off the court like he's 90 years old and then running back out there. I'm sorry. He's fine. He was fine the entire time.
Matthew Tkachuk playing with a broken clavicle, bro. Are you hockey with a broken clavicle? You're going back out and you scored a goal with a broken clavicle? What the fuck?
Hockey,
what the fuck?
Hockey is a whole different animal. I'll tell you right now. There's nobody flopping at hockey
with a broken clavicle, dude.
There's nobody flopping at hockey. Well, I mean, there are players who try horrifyingly have had their throat cut with a skate. They're out there 2 weeks.
Guy too.
Couple weeks later, it's Zitnik, which is it. Yeah. It's guys in hockey. I always kind of not laugh, but marvel at the fact the playoffs end for some team and 9 guys need surgery and just played through it. I mean, there have been guys who played for the whole playoffs with a broken foot. You're on skates the entire time blocking shots. It's insane.
The Gudis guy had a broken foot. Yeah. Gudis had a broken foot, dude, and he was playing.
Insane. It is insane.
It's pure insanity what they do in hockey. And you've got load management in the NBA? Get the hell out of here, dude.
That's why,
load management in the NBA, and Kachuk is playing with a broken freaking clavicle, scoring a goal. I mean,
that's why when we start, not to get too off the rails here, but when we start talking about, like as a Knicks fans are always like, we got to get a star. And like Paul George is, I'm like, I don't want Paul George. Paul George is going to play like 45 games, maybe, and then maybe play in the playoffs.
Maybe he shows up in the playoffs too. That's the other thing.
Yeah, it's like, I'm good. I'm all set. Like, I'm not trading away 5 first-round picks for a guy. Like every back-to-back is like, I'm good. I can't do this. I mean, the Clippers have really cornered the market on guys like that.
You trade for money players like a Damian Lillard.
Yes.
You give it away for a guy like that constantly has shown you he's a freaking killer every time he gets an opportunity. Those are the kind of people that you risk for. Paul George is James Harden, Paul George. I get their talents, but those aren't guys that I sell out for. That's why when I'm hearing that there's no market for James Harden, I'm like, really? Shocker. Wow. Like, by now, really? Most people should have figured out, yeah, dude, I know he's got talent, but no, I don't want him. No, I'm good.
How many teams has he quit on in the last 4 years? Are we up to 3 now? In the Rockets, Nets, and the Sixers. I mean, it's just it just goes to show the difference in sports, right? Like, if an NFL player, like let's just say Josh Allen tomorrow went to the Bills and was like, trade me. The Bills would be like, that's nice. Right. And that'd be the end of that conversation. You'd be like, yeah, that's not going to happen. You know?
No.
Well, I'm going to sit out. No, you're not. No, you're not. Or could you imagine a player in the NFL going to his team? Travis Kelce goes up to the Chiefs and goes, guys, listen, I'm looking for load management. So any games on a short week, I'm not playing. They'd be like, what are you kidding? Like, I can't even imagine a scenario where a player like, we're in the NBA, guys, you're playing 30 minutes a night. Like, just whatever. Like, I just, it kills me. Absolutely kills me. These guys.
I'm with. It's a joke what goes on in the NBA, and they don't even take the damn season serious.
No, it means nothing.
That's another thing. And now they're going to create an in-season tournament in early December for a season that never matters, and you're also going to play it in early December, the worst parts of the NBA season, because nobody cares about basketball until you get to like February or March when football is over. That's when people start to turn to basketball.
And your
players are now taking 20-25% of your seasons off now. Hell, people are paying for tickets and they're traveling and they're going to games, and then they're finding out that the star that they paid to see is taking the night off nowadays.
I'll tell you, that's the fear. That is the fear that Silver ought to have, is that you're going to start having fans go, you know what? I'm good. I'm not paying because I don't know if this guy's going to play. I don't know if this guy's going to show up. I'll tell you right now, that starts happening. The NBA is going to figure out this load management thing real quick, because all of a sudden then it's going to be, okay, it's bottom line problem. But no, the in-season tournament, I know they do it in soccer in Europe. I get all that. I understand that. In the NBA, that is one of the most different.
It's not within the league
Euro
itself.
Cup,
It's something separate. Like here, you have the U.S. Open Cup. It has nothing to do with the MLS. And now you have that, what's that called? The Leagues Cup, that it's the MLS and Mexico.
Yeah.
These are completely, or you're qualifying for the World Cup or whatever, or you're in the UEFA Champions League, or, you know what I'm saying? These aren't just something. The NBA thing is a stupid tournament within your own season. It's like, no, dude.
Do you know how many guys are going to load manage their way through that thing? I mean, I saw it's like, if you win the tournament, you win $500K. Now, I'll tell you what, the guys on the end of the bench, they're going to be rooting like nobody's business to win that tournament. But these guys
in England, they have the FA Cup.
Exactly. Yeah.
Same thing. Division 1, Division 2, Division 3. Everybody plays, same as the U.S. Open Cup. But it's completely
also
different. It's not part of the Premiership. It's completely separate. You know what I mean? That's why, to me, this tournament just makes no sense, dude. None.
In Europe, it has historical backing. Nobody cares. Like, I'm very curious. Like, if the Nuggets win the in-season tournament, are they gonna like celebrate like they won something that matters, or are they just gonna like throw it in the locker? Like, yeah, that's cool. I mean, but you know that's
the way. You nailed it. This is for Sacramento or Charlotte or the Magic or the
None
Pistons.
of these two teams care. Nobody
cares. Right. If the Lakers win the in-season tournament, what do they give a shit about that, dude? The Celtics. Like, you think those fan bases that are spoiled with banners all over, they're gonna care about maybe the Magic fan will, because they have no success whatsoever.
I mean, the Knicks haven't won in 50. The Knicks haven't won in 50 years. I don't care. I don't care about
New York won't care about that. New York's big town. They want a championship. You win that stupid in-season tournament, they're going to laugh at you in New York. They're going to be even more pissed that you're actually happy about that. That's the way it'll go in New York. That's how it'll come up in New York, in Philadelphia, in Brooklyn,
Chicago.
Yeah, dude, those places aren't going to want that.
You start looking at now. I mean, my God, they're giving out rings for winning the Summer League. I remember last year the Knicks were in the championship game. I forget they played, they lost. And I remember, like, on one board I'm on with the Knicks, people were like, if the Knicks win this thing, this is worse than if they lose, because they're going to get rings for the Summer League. Like, people were actively rooting for them to lose the game. But this is where the NBA's at now, because nobody plays the damn games. So this is why you get the play-in tournament. This is why you've got this in-season tournament. And now you've got these rules that you got to play whatever it is, 60 or 65 games or something to qualify for, like, all pro teams. It's embarrassing. It's ridiculous. Like, the NBA's really got to figure it out.
All right, man, we got to go. What do you got going on Sports Illustrated so folks can check you out?
Just wrapped up the 32 and 32 this week. Next week we got our roundtable where we're predicting all the awards. We've got I've got one big question for every team in the NFC that comes out over a period of 4 days, and so that's the main crux of it. And the training camp's tour starts August 4th.
Follow him on Twitter at Matt Verderam. Catch him every week here doing his thing. Matt, as always, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you immensely.
You got it. Take care.
Thank you, sir. There you go. The great Matt Verderam. All right, let's get ready. Joe Shad is stepping in with our essential moving experts, Miami Dolphins Exchange.
It's time to talk Aqua and Orange. Miami Dolphins fans. Here's a man with incredibly high standards. In fact, he isn't impressed with Tyreek Hill's dominance, Jalen Waddle's speed, or even Teron Armstead's swag. It's the Essential Moving Experts Miami Dolphins Exchange with Joe Shad. When you're looking to move your home or business anywhere in the U.S. from coast to coast, call Essential Moving Experts at 305-602-8369. Flat rates and no surprise charges. EssentialMovingExperts.com. Call 305-602-8369. Let's talk football. Here's Joe Shad.
There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. Follow him on Twitter at Shad. Joe, how you feeling, Joe? You feeling good?
I am, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great, bro. We're getting closer to the season. Tua says yesterday to Joe Shad, I think we're definitely legit contenders. There's no doubt with the guys we have on the defensive side of the ball, with the guys we have on the offensive side of the ball. And now with this being the first time as an offense, we get to come back understanding the plays already, kind of molded into the offense a little more. I think it can get very, very scary, pretty dangerous. I love a confident Tua. That was good yesterday, Joe.
Yeah, you can find the one-on-one Q&A with Tua from the Gatorade event yesterday, where Tua delivered $65,000 worth of uniforms and equipment to Miami Edison High School, courtesy of Gatorade. You can find that on the Palm Beach Post Sports website. Good way to get back in a groove, and we appreciate Tua for his time. It was a really interesting interview, and I got a sense that he is, I don't know the right way to put it.
Shows you his growth too, because that's not something he says under flow, because he wasn't comfortable, because he wasn't confident. You know what I'm saying? And then you fast forward, 4 years later now, and now he's finally going into his second season with the same offense and a coach that has instilled confidence and has allowed him to also grow as a person, as a leader, as an interviewee. You know what I'm saying? Where you're not always getting just company lines from him. He'll actually give you some meat on the bone. And I think that that's actually really, really cool that you're getting a Tua that's being a little bit more honest with you guys?
He's not a kid anymore. This is going to be his 4th year. He's a husband. He's a father. And you get the feeling that those things have sort of grounded him. That's the phrase I was looking for. Tua feels grounded right now, which is a good place to be there, because there was so much uncertainty and swirl and negativity and speculation and drama in the past that he's kind of past all that right now.
Physically, you like what you're seeing? Because obviously you got to love that he's attacked everything. Like, okay, well, I had a head trauma. Let me build up the top of my body, stronger neck, stronger shoulders. I can control myself a little bit more. Obviously, the jiu-jitsu, all of that. But physically, what do you see in him that you did not see in the past right now?
Prior to last year, I think it was Tua slimmed down. He wanted to be more mobile, more athletic. And I think that the Dolphins probably prefer him being a little bit heavier from a resiliency, durability, taking shots, holding up standpoint. And so I think that makes sense. And I thought it was interesting. I'm looking at this Tua quote here from my interview with him yesterday. He said, "God willing, I can make it through the entire season, and we can win a playoff game. We can win a Super Bowl." Now, Tua is a religious guy. So when he says God willing, he's obviously saying, he's talking about his faith and about how he thinks that God plays a role in this. But of course, some people jumped on that as a negative, suggesting that somehow, he's afraid, that they didn't like that God willing quote. But that's not the way I took it.
That's what people say all the time for everything. God willing, it doesn't rain today, and I can enjoy the concert. What's the big deal?
Right. But it's important to understand that with Tua, it's not a flippant, sarcastic, tongue-in-cheek remark. It's a legitimate remark. Like he is praying that he can stay healthy. And when I asked Tua the most important question of the interview, which was, what do you believe you need to do to prove to the organization that you are the long-term answer at quarterback? He said basically what I did last year, other than injuries.
Right.
And obviously he believes there's room to grow for the offense.
Listen, Joe, by now, if you're questioning the talent, the ability, the execution, the passing, you're an idiot at this point. That's all I'm saying. Anybody out there, if you're questioning whether the kid can play, you're an idiot at this point. There's only one question with him. And to me, it's the only question that's ever existed, because I never doubted that he could play. And I've always expected him to play at an incredibly high level. So he's going to play an even better level than what you saw last year when it's all said and done. This kid's a championship type of player. But his only concern and the only thing, and by the way, I love his honesty. By telling you that he didn't know the playbook, he's being honest. If you watch quarterbacks on Netflix, watch Kirk Cousins say at the first game under McConnell last year, I'm still not comfortable in this offense. Tyreek Hill said it last year. He didn't know the entire playbook. You know what I mean? I love that honesty. And the honesty of saying, God willing, I stay healthy, it's because he's being honest about himself. Everybody else should be honest. The kid can play. The problem has been injuries. And he knows it. He's had terrible luck with injuries. That's the only hurdle right now in his career. I think we should all agree on that by now.
Would you take 14 starts? If I said, I'm going to give you 14 starts, would you take it?
Oh, I'll take it. But I want 20 starts. I want 21 starts.
No, but I mean 14 regular season starts.
I get it, but I'm not settling.
Or what about 13?
No, I want 17.
No, I'm asking you if you would sign up for it if I offered it to you. Would you take 13?
I'll take 13, 14 because
wow.
13. Quarterback. He's the best quarterback you've had since Marino. I get all of that, but I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting
most
17.
Quarterbacks miss one or two.
Okay, 16 then, fine. But I'm not settling for 13 or 14. I want 17. Get it? Maybe he misses one, whatever. It's normal. He needs to stay on the field, dude.
It's interesting. I was thinking about this. Jay Cutler was mocked and criticized for not taking any hits when he was here. He was like, he was going to do anything and everything to not take a hit. He would throw it at guys' feet. He didn't care how bad he looked and how embarrassing the video was and how much people were going to make fun of him on TikTok. All right. Now, Nick Saban said when Tua was drafted that he needs to protect himself. He needs to avoid unnecessary hits. Nick Saban's a smart guy, regardless of what you think of him. He's a smart guy.
Incredibly
all right?
smart.
So my thing is there a chance that if Tua starts, not running on for that extra yard, I don't think he has it in him. I don't think it's going to matter because I think when the Dolphins need the yard on 3rd and 4, and he's got to put his shoulder down to get the yard in the 4th quarter, I think he's going to do it. I think that's more likely than Tua being criticized for throwing it away when maybe he could have extended the play.
Well, hold on a second. In his case, compared to Cutler, okay, because he has the injury history, people will want him to throw it away to live for the next play. As for Jay Cutler, well, dude, you've never won really anything at any level. And so that was Jay's problem. Jay had all the gifts in the world, but he just never really took that next step as a quarterback. So, and injuries weren't really his thing. So that's why when he's throwing the ball away, you're looking at it and you're looking at it with a fisheye. Whereas if Tua throws it away, in this case, you're going to say that's a smart move because he's dealt with a bunch of injuries. He needs to live.
There's that famous Jay Cutler story where a guy walks up to him in a bar in Chicago. They're standing at the urinals, doing their thing. And the guy's like, "Oh, man, I went to Vandy." And Cutler looks at him and says, "Don't care." And that was Cutler. Like, he didn't care. And Tua cares so much.
Right.
I just think it's going to be really interesting to see because he's got all these jiu-jitsu moves now. Like, under what circumstance does he try a jiu-jitsu move? Under what circumstances does he give up on the play? Under what circumstances does he just crumble in the pocket intentionally? Go down?
Yeah.
It's hard, man. That's a hard thing because we all praised Tua when he got a key first down under Flores, when he put his shoulder down and he was pumped up and the fans were pumped up and his teammates were pumped up and Flores wouldn't say that was a good play. And, there's things we don't like about Flores, but do you think he was right on that?
On what again? On what part, Flores?
So there was a very memorable play where Tua Tagovailoa did like a Ryan Fitzpatrick, right? Where he fired up all his teammates by putting his shoulder down and barreling over a dude. You remember when he barreled over a dude? If you type in on Twitter, Tua barrels over dude.
I remember that. Yeah, that was dumb.
Well, Brian Flores, who we're not fans of, but the thing is, he refused to say anything positive about that play. And my question is, do you think that was right in retrospect? That under no circumstances should Tua be praised or credited for putting his shoulder down?
No, he should be praised for selling out, but he needs to make better decisions at that point. I get it. You made the play. You had to make it. But that's not the way we want to go about it. You know what I mean? Because that's really what you don't want. You don't want him putting shoulders into people, especially when you're not Josh Allen, bro. You're not Ben Roethlisberger. You don't weigh 260 pounds. So, if you're Dante Culpepper, go for it, bro. Put a shoulder into somebody. If you're Cam Newton, go for it. You've got the body, but, when
I really enjoyed this, the net.
You're Bob Greasy, Joe Montana, you're Tua Tagovailoa. No. I don't want you putting shoulders into. I don't want Dan Marino, and he was a big guy, but that's not his game. He wasn't a runner. He wasn't a physical guy like that. No. Throw the ball away. Live for the next play.
Mahomes on the Netflix series Quarterback. It's really, really fascinating. And one of the things I noticed is anytime he gets touched, he throws a big fit about it. To the officials, to the opposing players, don't punch me in the arm.
Oh, wait a minute.
Hit me in the head.
Well, wait a minute. The one from the Raider, that was late, and he punched him in the chest.
Throughout the series.
I get it.
Series. And also, you notice when he throws an interception, he never goes anywhere near the scrum. And so I guess what I'm saying is, if a guy like Mahomes can do anything and everything to protect himself. Although there are those moments where Mahomes is going to Mahomes, and maybe he should take a few less risks because he had that high ankle sprain that almost cost him last year, right?
Hey, Joe, Marino threw it away all the time.
Right.
He wasted no time throwing it away. That you knew right away he wasn't going to take a hit. And that was his whole career. Now, he would take a hit when he knew the play was open and he had to wait for the last second. Then he would gladly take the hit. I'm sure he hated it, but he would do it. But if the play wasn't going anywhere, Marino was the first guy to throw it away. That's what I want them to show Tua. I want them to show it to him because he probably did it 6,000 times. Not 100, not 600, not 700. Okay? No. 6,000 times he probably did it. I wish they'd show him that because Marino was super happy in dumping it. All right, so let me ask you something else now. We've got Hard Knocks starting, and you hear that the Jets are going to limit what they have access, and people are talking about it. What nobody's talking about, and what the NFL and HBO should be talking about, and tell me if you agree, what you should be worried about is precedent. Because whatever the Jets limit now is what the next team and the next team and the next team's going to do, and they may add even other things to it. So this could be the beginning of the end of Hard Knocks, because what makes Hard Knocks is those moments. And if you take away those moments, then you take away Hard Knocks. And I think that's what people are missing right now. It's not so much what the Jets don't want to do. It's what the precedent that the Jets are going to set is going to then really ruin what Hard Knocks was all about. Listen, it is kind of inhumane to show somebody getting cut. And
they've stopped doing that, though, for the most part. It's not like it used to be. The other team, like the Jets, haven't set the precedent on that.
They did it. The Detroit, you didn't watch the Lions? They did it last year. They showed it. They showed guys getting cut in the Lions last year. So
yeah, in general, they've scaled back on that in recent years. There's been less interesting stuff.
Okay,
it's hard to force anybody to do anything they don't want to do. But professional athletes are required by the contract they sign, the agreement between the league and the union to be available. But if a guy doesn't want to talk, it's really hard to force him to talk. And then you get into the Marshawn Lynch situation. So really the best way to do this is through cooperation and negotiation and collective bargaining. So people will do almost anything for money. So there's got to be some solution. What if HBO or whoever pays each player and coach for their participation? You know what I mean? Like then there's, I don't know. I don't think that happens. I don't think that happens, right?
Do something, Joe, because what the Jets are about to do is there's going to be repercussions for the next few teams after that, because they're going to say, no, Jets limited. We're not doing it either. In fact, we don't also want to do this and this and this. So what the Jets are doing, it's going to be a domino effect that could really bury that show, actually.
I'm telling you, you need the cooperation, and really, it's the owners. It used to be that the owners wanted the show. Right. It's kind of like injury reporting in college football, right? The commissioners of certain conferences would say, "Well, we think it's a good idea that every team should have to report an injury report for college football," and they tried that, I think, in the SEC. And like Saban was like, yeah, no, whatever. I'm not going to do it. Or in the ACC, like some coaches were doing it and some coaches were just saying, yeah, no, whatever. I don't care what policy you set in cooperation with the team officials and the conference commissioners. So it's like, who has the most power? Who has the most authority? Who has the most leverage? In college football, it's the head coaches. I always thought that in the NFL, it was ownership. But if I guess Robert Saleh has the power to tell HBO screw off, and he must have the support of his owner.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. All right, here's how I look at it, Joe. I think Dalvin and his agent are terrible poker players. They met with the Dolphins hours after being released. They had the offer that the Dolphins had 24 hours after the release. They got whatever offer that was probably a little bit more from the Jets. I think the agent showed how desperate he was by throwing out that Minnesota has a $7 million offer, and he's not going back to Minnesota to be a backup to Alexander Mattison. I think he signs next week as camp starts because he has to get in with somebody, and he and his agent have to see what has gone on with all the other backs that nobody's getting paid, nobody's getting anything. There's still backs that are free agents that can be had, and nobody has signed them. So you look at that. I don't think he goes to New York because he has to either rent or buy a house or condo there, and the expenses, and make less money for state taxes. He's not going back to Minnesota to be a backup. I think he was coming to Miami from the get-go. I think he was just hoping to extract more money from them, and he has had zero luck. I think he ends up settling for the deal that Miami got. Maybe they give him a couple little incentives to help him out a little bit, but I think Dalvin Cook ends up here when it's all said and done sometime next week or the week after. Your thoughts on that? What happens with Dalvin?
I mean, I'm a little less confident in that than I was a week or 2 or 3 ago. You know, the Vegas odds have the Jets and the Patriots as the more likely teams to sign Cook at this point. And sometimes they do have inside information. But, you know, there is another option here. Cook is going to get $2 million even if he doesn't play. So he could just say, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait even into the season. Why should I go through training camp? Maybe I'll wait and see if a Dolphins running back or a Patriots running back or a Jets running back or someone else gets injured. And then maybe with a little bit more desperation, he can get a little bit more money, you know. You've seen running backs refuse to play. Le'Veon Bell. And now there's this running back union where these guys are all like on a text thread talking about how it's bull that they're getting paid less than kickers and punters. I'd like to be on that text thread. Maybe someone can add me.
As I told our guest prior to you, I'm not feeling sorry for you. The world evolves. You got anybody taking your tolls anymore? What happened to the toll takers? When you go to McDonald's, is there always a cashier, or sometimes you just go to a kiosk now? You know what I mean? So you start looking around, go to Sergio's restaurant. There's not always a waiter bringing you the food. It'll be a robot bringing you the food. You know, AI is replacing all kinds of shit. Life changes. It evolves. The fullback has died out practically in the NFL. The post game in the center died out in the NBA. The goon died in hockey. Shit evolves, bro. It happens. Live with it. The running back position is no longer the position it used to be. It's a serviceable and interchangeable position. It's not a franchise position. It's just the way it goes. And they're not feeling sorry for the toll takers, so nobody's going to feel sorry for you, running back, because shit happens, bro. Sports evolve. It's just the way it is.
I will say this. Daniel Jones is not even a decent Daniel Jones without Saquon Barkley. So there are circumstances where players are so elite at running back,
I agree,
that they make everyone else around them better.
I totally agree. In Daniel Jones' case, you are 1,000% right. Problem is, to commit long-term to an injury-prone running back is very dangerous.
Same with Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill.
Well, Derrick Henry is not injury-prone. Derrick Henry.
No, I'm just talking about the impact that he has for the quarterback.
No, I get it.
And the team.
But if I told you, okay, they're both the same age, okay, who are you giving a long-term contract to, Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley? And I bet you're going to go Derrick Henry every time because you know the durability part of it. It's not that Saquon can't play. We all know he's super special, but he can't stay on the field, and that's a problem. You know what I mean? So that's the other issue with the Giants. And they're like, well, do we just get another running back? And here's the other problem now, Joe. Running backs, they don't play for second contracts anymore, dude. Rare that
defensive tackles are getting paid.
Yeah.
Why are defensive tackles getting paid and running backs aren't?
Because they free up your linebackers. They eat up offensive linemen. They change the scheme. If you want to run in the middle and there's a hog in the middle, then now he's popping it to the outside, and now you're funneling it to your linebackers and your defensive ends. So there's a method behind the madness, and there's not a lot of those kind of guys that can move people and move mountains. Running backs are dime a dozen. Maybe not like Derek or Saquon, but you could go get a Josh Jacobs or a Dalvin Cook or whatever it is that came out in the draft this year, the Robinson kid or whatever. Every year you're going to get running backs. So you can actually use them up for 3 to 4 years, then go draft another one and keep them cheap. But
I mean, listen, Dalvin Cook is a big name running back, and he's obviously a talented running back. But just to play devil's advocate, obviously Mike McDaniel has had great success in previous running schemes with undrafted and late round running backs, as have the Broncos of the Shanahan scheme that McDaniel emulated. So,
brother,
the truth of the matter is the Dolphins don't need Dalvin Cook.
Kansas City, bro. Who did they win this year with? Isaiah Pacheco, a 7th rounder. That's all.
Every time I watch him wearing 10, I think of Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Take some cojones to wear the 10.
Yeah. Nowadays, it means so much. All right, what do you got going on the Palm Beach Post so fans can check you out?
Yeah, definitely check out that Q&A. It's going to be outside the paywall for a couple of more hours, and then they're going to probably put it behind the subscriber-only window. So if you're a subscriber, please do that. And then in the coming days, I will roll out some training camp preview content, position battles, storylines, players to watch, all that good stuff. The first practice in 1 week.
Going to camp?
Not all practices are open to the public, so make sure that the fans check the Miami Dolphins website for the practices that are open to the public and that you can get tickets for.
Are you going to Canton?
No, Hal Habib is going to Canton. He's also spending a lot of time on Leo Messi. Oh
yeah,
he's doing a lot of soccer stuff.
That is, he's Mr. Soccer. So yeah,
he likes football.
Oh, he knows his shit. And he's
football
an Arsenal fan.
Yeah,
that's why he's a good person, because he's an Arsenal fan like me. So that's a good thing.
I like the blue team.
Liverpool,
Chelsea, right?
Oh, Chelsea. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Chelsea. Okay. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Shad Joe, and subscribe there at the Palm Beach Post so you can get exclusive stuff like that one-on-one with Tua Tagovailoa. Shad Joe, thank you, sir. We will catch you next week, Joe. Appreciate you, baby.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. Shad Joe on Twitter. Reverse Shad Joe. Joe Shad. Shad Joe on Twitter. Follow him there. That is your essentialmovingexperts.com Miami Dolphins report.
You've been listening to the Essential Moving Experts Miami Dolphins Exchange with Joe Shad. When you're looking for local, home, long-moving services or office relocation, call Essential Moving Experts at 305-602-8369. Flat rates and no surprise charges. EssentialMovingExperts.com. Call 305-602-8369. Miami Dolphins fans, follow Big O Radio Show on all platforms to keep up with your favorite NFL team.
All right. Weapon X United, thank you for the love on the super chat. He says, morning, Big O. After the Cure concert, you have me on this concert tip or trip, I'm not sure. Saw the Berlin Howard Jones Culture Club concert last night here in Atlanta. Thank you for the concert inspirations. You saw a very good show, because Terry Nunn still sounds phenomenal. You got 3 of the longtime members in that band. Howard Jones, I thought, quite frankly, he stole the show down here. I thought he was the best act out of the 3, to be quite honest. Okay. And then when Nick Beggs is his bassist, the guy from Kajagoogoo, and they play Too Shy, I thought that was awesome. And then Boy George still sounds great. The production of the band, everything, it was really good. Overall, that was a really, really good concert. Good for you, bro. Good for you. It's a really good concert to enjoy. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. And you can even make a Bitcoin donation, too. We got birthdays today on July 19th. Jared Paladecki is 41 years old. What's the name of that that TV show that they're hunting ghosts all Supernatural. Benedict Cumberbatch, the actor, is 47 today. Brian May, Hall of Famer, guitarist for Queen, is 76. Let's see who else. John Jones is 36 years old, the MMA fighter, an absolute nutbag and constantly arrested dude. Let's see who else. I don't know this guy, but his name is Pop Can. He's a reggae singer. He might be big in the reggae world. I don't know. Not sure. But I figured I'd mention it out there. What the hell? There might be some reggae fans that know who the hell he is. Who else do we have here celebrating birthdays? It's not like this long list today. Is there anybody else I remember? No, that's it. That's it. That's pretty much what you got in birthdays. Now, today in music history, on July 19th, 1976, Deep Purple split up. They would reunite again 8 years later. In 91 on this date, former Guns N' Roses drummer Steve Adler sued the band, alleging that they encouraged his heroin habit. Adler had been fired from the group the previous year because of his problems with drugs. In 2013, on this date, Pearl Jam kicked off their U.S. tour at Chicago's Wrigley Field behind their 10th studio album, Lightning Bolt, but had to come off the stage 7 songs later due to lightning. They returned after midnight and finished out their set to a large crowd, which stuck around for the band. Figures. Pearl Jam fans are hardcore, baby. In 75 on this day, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band spent 19 hours rehearsing at a studio in New York City the day before they kicked off their Born to Run tour. 19 hours. Got to get it right. In 75, Wings had the number 1 song in the country with Listen What the Man Said. Let's see. In 2016, Radiohead singer Tom York's debut solo album, The Eraser, debuted at number 2. And in 86 on this date, Genesis had the number 1 song in the country with Invisible Touch. The number 2 song was Sledgehammer with their former singer, Peter Gabriel. That's pretty cool, actually. So that is what happened today in Musica history. Let's see. All right. What else do we have going on in the world of sports? Oh, Justin Fields said something really stupid. I like Justin Fields, by the way. He looks like a good kid. Tough sumbitch, obviously. He's proven that over and over again. He's got a lot of talent. He still has to prove that he can be an accurate passer. That's one of the things, because he's, in my eyes, he's still a running quarterback. And apparently, the way I look at it and the way he looks at it are 2 different ways. Apparently, Justin Fields looks at a running quarterback like a badge of honor, and I look at it like you're not good enough. Okay? And so let me explain why I think Justin Fields, but he's young, he's a newbie. He doesn't necessarily, get all of it, but that's all right. Youngins, that's just kind of the way it is. Anyway, the quarterback was on All Things Covered podcast and was asked to name his top 5 running quarterbacks of all time. And guess what? He picked himself in it. He said definitely in the top 5. He told Darren Albert of Larry Brown Sports. He picked, in no particular order, Michael Vick, Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson, and Steve Young, along with Justin Fields. And see, here's my problem with all of this, okay? So let me ask you something. What does Lamar Jackson win with all the running? In fact, he can't win in the playoffs. Does he have? I think he has maybe 1 win in the playoffs after all those trips. He's a constant choker in the playoffs. Cam Newton, he did get pretty far one time. He won the MVP as a running quarterback, but did he win it? Was he able to consistently do it? No. Michael Vick ran a lot. Oh, my God, that's right. He won in Green Bay once. And Andy Reid got him to a 62% completion percentage, which is an amazing accomplishment by him. Elite quarterbacks, by the way, are over 65. And Steve Young is not a running quarterback when he won. See, that's the problem with kids. It's a problem with people out there. You know, you throw shit out, but you don't have the facts. So Steve Young, who's the only guy that won a Super Bowl, by the way, the year that he won the year that he won the Super Bowl, his quarterback rating was 112.8. That year. The year before was 101. And those were the years where he ran for 407, 537, 415 yards, you know, when he was a running quarterback. But see, the problem with Justin Fields, and maybe some of you out there, you don't know the history. And you didn't learn that Steve Young learned that in order for him to win, he had to run less. So the year he won the Super Bowl, he only ran for 293 yards. He didn't run for a lot. He stayed in the pocket more. He learned to become more of a pocket passer. In fact, if you listen to Steve Young, he'll tell you that that's what helped him. Okay? That's why his quarterback rating went through the roof. His running went down. Turnovers also went down. Everything helped out. So the problem was Steve Young learned that what he was doing at BYU and what he was doing early in his career after he took over for Montana was not what he needed to do. Running quarterbacks aren't the answer. Running is a weapon you use to complement how you win the game. You win it from the pocket and you win it in passing. So, Justin Fields, my man, the day you want to take stock and take pride, become a quarterback, not a running quarterback. A running quarterback is a bunch of stats. You don't win shit as a running quarterback because all you got to do is ask Lamar Jackson and Michael Vick and Cam Newton. They didn't win shit. And eventually, Lamar Jackson will break down and won't be able to be a quarterback ever again because if he wants to keep playing this way, you only end up injured. That's just the way it is. So Michael Vick never learned to beat people consistently from the pocket. So Justin Fields, if you don't learn to beat people from the pocket, then you can be thrown in there with running quarterbacks. And by the way, in the article, you know, they kind of throw Steve McNair in there, and that is the most unfair and racist shit too, on top of all of that. Why? Because he's black? Steve McNair was a pure pocket passer. When McNair ran, it was like any other quarterback that runs, normal quarterbacks. Steve McNair ran because he had no freaking choice. I get it, he's black, but actually Steve McNair is more like Warren Moon. Pure pocket passers in a way. Sure, they had some yards because McNair was a great athlete, but he didn't live off his legs. McNair was a tough sumbitch. Jesus Christ. My God, was that guy impressive. Really. Steve McNair was a good player, man. Good player. But he didn't live off his legs. I would not insult Steve McNair and call him like, a running quarterback. I would call him a pure pocket passer that ran when he had no choice. That's how I want my quarterback running. I want him running when he has. I tell you, and I don't care about Josh Allen, but I tell you he runs too much. So, it's just kind of weird how people spin shit and then they don't really look at things the way they should, Like, here, where's his, he had a couple of years of 400, and then he went into 138, 128, 139, 119. He learned that you can't live off your legs. You got to pass. And, he had a lot of injuries too. I felt bad for Steve McNair. He was a tough sumbitch, but I wouldn't call him a running quarterback. He ran because he had no choice. Didn't he have Eddie George? He had a pretty good runner. Pretty damn good runner. But McNair was one of those guys that was a pocket passer. I would not insult him as calling him a running quarterback. I would call him a pocket passer that ran when he had to run. And I love those kind of guys. Those are the kind of guys that I think are the smartest quarterbacks in the world. The guys that can actually pass and then they run to kill you, not run by design. If you have to design runs for your quarterback, then he's not a good enough passer. That's the way I would do it. I like the guy that sees nobody and there's a hole and he runs for 7 yards and slides and just stabs you right there. He kept the drive alive. He slid. He moved the chains. And before you know it, he has 60 yards at the end of the game. And he killed you passing, but he just ran because he had to run. He had no choice at that moment. Those are the kind of guys I like. I don't want guys that have to run the ball in order to be an effective quarterback. That's not a good idea, Justin Fields. Learn to beat people from the pocket. Steven says, who's going to Hialeah Park tomorrow to join us? Let's go. Let's go. You guys got to talk amongst each other about going to Hialeah Park. Seriously. Would be nice if you can do that. By the way, it's nice to see that they've got the Tupac Shakur investigation still going on since 96. Jesus Christ. No progress. Can't we? It's the weirdest thing. I wish we could take the violence out of rap. It's the only genre of music that I don't understand all the killing in rap. I don't understand it. Like, dude, rap about it. Don't live it. We're constantly rappers are either getting in trouble with gun violence or we're ending up killing our rappers by one way or another in some shootout and some stupidity, which is the big rapper we lost, one of the Migos guys recently. I mean, it's ridiculous. This doesn't happen to country and R&B and jazz and rock and metal and what is it? Electronic music, only rap. It's the only one that's constantly, bro, littered with crime. Every freaking day, practically. And almost every month, we're killing some lower level rapper, mid-sized rapper, or a big-time rapper. I don't understand any of this. None of it makes any sense whatsoever. The gun violence in rap. It's just absolutely stupid. Got a lot of dummies in that genre. A lot of dummies. People that could be making a ton of money and making it like Nipsey Hussle. Like, what the hell are we doing killing Nipsey Hussle? Here's a guy that came out of nowhere, brought himself out of hell, then was lifting everybody. He was doing a LeBron. He was lifting others, and we shoot him. Like, how are we better like that? Gordon says, now that running backs are realizing that they are expendable, will there be more running backs developing multi-skills like Deebo Samuels, maybe a whole new generation of running back wide receiver hybrids, the positionless basketball? You could be onto something. It's just a really hard talent to possess, to do what Deebo does, to have that physicalness. But then again, you open yourself up, Gordon, to injuries. So then if you have a receiver that is seeking contact, that's not good either, because not everybody's going to survive that. You can only take so many hits. That was we laugh and we made fun of God, what's his name? The guy from Ohio State that we drafted, him and his family, Ted Ginn. We would make fun of Ted Ginn for running out of bounds, but that's why he played 10 plus years in the league. You know what I mean? Go watch Marvin Harrison. It's funny how we make fun of Ted Ginn, but we never made fun of Marvin Harrison, who did all the same shit that Ted Ginn did, except he was winning and he was getting a lot of yards and all that with the Colts and Manning. But go watch Marvin Harrison. He never took on any contact. He was quick to slide, quick to run out of bounds, quick to kneel down. He was amazing at that, and that extended his career. So, Gordon, I can understand what you're talking about, the hybrid, but once you add physicality to another position, and I think that's what's going on with running backs, they take a pounding to a point that it's just not worth the risk of giving them that much money, because then it's Todd Gurley and then it's Ezekiel Elliott and all these running backs that broke down over the last few years when they gave them a big time contract. And I think that scared off people, and they said, no, that's it. We're not doing this anymore. So that's why I think that chance is not going to be taken nearly as much. And thank you for the super chat. I think rap went from art imitating life to life imitating art. We need more artfulness. However, I wish fake rapper posers, Island Boys, did violence against themselves. Yeah, but it's not just the rappers that are idiots. It's the rap fans that are also morons. Okay? That's the one genre of music that just has a low IQ. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Right? We don't have the violence in bluegrass. We don't have the violence in heavy metal. We don't have gun problems in R&B. We have no gun problems in classical music. We don't have gun problems in EDM. What is it? Whatever the electronic music is called. EDM, I think it is, right? Or whatever. None. It's only in one, where somehow or another they think it's smart to live some stupid ass thug life and be some gangster. And yet for decades, we're seeing either the fans or the actual rappers die. And it just continues and continues and continues. And it just makes no sense whatsoever. And we're still investigating one of the greatest rappers to ever die, Tupac Shakur. A guy that could be filling stadiums right now. Okay? Filling stadiums. Making way more great music. By now, 20-something years later, how many more CDs could that man have created? And we lost him for nothing. We lose Biggie for nothing. For no reason. For stupidity. For whatever. What? Acting like a tough guy? Machismo? Thuggery, gangster crap, drugs, West Coast, East Coast. Do I go back to Cyrus and the Warriors? We're fighting for 5 feet of ground, our little turf. You know, nothing's changed. Is that really what's going on? I mean, Kool Moe Dee killed LL Cool J without any violence. What happened to that? Go look at the album. One of his albums, I forgot, is it the Wild West or whatever? And he's standing in front of an SUV where the tire's running over a red Kangoo, which is supposed to be, the beef between those two. That's fun. Did Kool Moe Dee and LL Cool J literally go to... No, dude. And they've lived great lives, and they've lived full lives, and, that's the way it's supposed to be. We're supposed to have Tupac Shakur, grow old. That's how it's supposed to be. Like it happens in rock and in bluegrass and in whatever, any genre of music that I've repeated over and over again. For Christ's sake, Keith Richards from the Stones has done more drugs than everybody in rap combined, and he's still alive. Because he didn't pick up a gun. Okay? It's hard enough to stay alive just by living your life. Pick up a gun and you're gonna end it a lot faster. So when I see this thing with Tupac Shakur yesterday, it saddens me because I play his music all the time in my car. He's fantastic, and Biggie's one of my favorites. And I'm like, why are these people dead? This is the dumbest shit in the world that these people are dead for no reason at all. And that's the biggest part that with the violence in rap. It's pure stupidity and ignorance. A genre loaded with meatheads. There's example after example after example, and the gun violence continues in that one genre. No other genre has it except that one. We're not killing our country stars. We don't kill our pop stars. We don't do that. And they don't kill anybody else. Only in one genre. We got to end it, bro. I mean, it's ridiculous. I get the Jam Master Jay one wrong too, but he was in the middle of a drug deal, and Jesus Christ, that sucks. But what are you doing? You're Jam Master Jay, man. God. Pat at Asheville goes, oh, you never heard about the Bluegrass Greengrass Massacre? Maybe guns are part of the rap culture to look tough. Look at the tough guy, Jaw with the gun. I get it, but we got to get to a point where it's not tough. It's stupid. There's nothing tough about there's zero toughness in carrying and using a gun. Zero. Only cowards use a gun. Okay? There's no toughness in using a gun. Zero. Okay? Any moron can use a gun. Tall, short, fat, skinny, young, old, any nationality, any color, any religion. We see it all over, right? Guns can be used by anybody, by kids, by adults, by anybody. Okay? It takes no intelligence. It takes no balls, no guts, no nothing to use it. In fact, cowards are the ones that use guns. So all the rappers and rap fans that are using guns, you just know what you are now. You're nothing but a fucking coward. That's all. Simple. Loaded with cowards. There's nothing tough about a gun at all. Not a gangster, not a rapper, not a mobster, not anything. Nobody that uses a gun, there's nothing tough about a gun. That doesn't make you tough at all. So I'm not, again, It kind of goes, how do you look at things? And so if you think you're tough because of that, why? Because anybody can do it? That's not very tough. You know? At some point, Josh Allen's going to run against the wind. He'll be running against the wind. Just ask Bob Seger. And then he'll run into a wall. And somebody will break him in half. Because if I saw Cam Newton get broken in half, and that guy's built like Adonis, Josh Allen will eventually be broken in half. Chris from upstate New York, with having Fangio and the talent on defense and Tua staying healthy and offense in its second year with the same scheme, do you think we can have both ranked top 10? Hell yeah. Hell's to the yeah. There's some rap labels that profit off their sign rappers' deaths. Everybody profits off death, bro. Everybody. Doesn't matter if you're Jim Morrison. The Doors sold more albums dead than when they were alive. That's normal, my brother. That's something that's, you know, an artist dies, his paintings go through the roof, or her paintings go through the roof. Death does that for everything, dude. That's not a rap thing. That's everything. The crazy part is Tupac talked about having an early death. I know. That's the problem. You got to stop living it. Talk about it all you want and enlighten people, educate people on how tough it is to do what you're doing and getting out of the streets and the things that you have to deal with and all that kind of stuff that people, whether you're Hispanic rapping about the barrio, or you're Black Hispanic rapping about the hood, or you're white, you know, talking about whatever problems you go through, whatever it is. I get it, but educate people about what you go through. But to actually want to live a life of crime, that doesn't make any sense. What the hell do you want to die for? Why do you want to be involved in guns? Why do you want to try to threaten people? None of that makes any sense. Zero. And cowards use guns. So, you know. King Short says, you're pissing in the wind, Big O. They ain't listening. You're probably right. I usually am, actually. I usually am pissing in the wind. Yeah. You see that clip on Sports Center of a black turf talk about third-degree burns. I don't know what that means. Black turf talk about third-degree burns. What the hell does that mean? I have no idea what that means.
I think it's one of the teams that have the black turf field. The field is getting hot because of the sun, the heat. And
right.
It's black. I believe people are getting burns from getting tackled on it.
Well, that could be a problem. Yeah, that sounds like something that you are not putting something out there that's safe for people to actually participate on. A high school made their turf black. Oh, really? Jesus Christ. I haven't seen that story. That's king-size stupidity right there. So running backs are getting priced out. They are dealing with an adjustment now. And we talked a little bit about this today with some of the guys, but I wanted to kind of talk about it on my own. And here's a message for running backs out in the NFL. Here's a message for Saquon Barkley and for Aaron Jones and for Joe Mixon and for Austin Eckler and for Dalvin Cook and for all these other guys that are out there. Go whine somewhere else, dude. Okay? Are any of you guys worried about toll takers? Because they disappeared. Those people had jobs. Are you worried about cashiers that are losing their jobs to AI or to electronic kiosks? Are you? Do any of you care about that kind of stuff? Probably not, right? So what am I supposed to do? Feel sorry for you? People are being phased out everywhere. You know, the administration we currently have now kind of put down gas and oil to try to increase the green, solar, wind, all that kind of stuff, right? Okay, so the people that work in oil aren't trained to do this. So now you've got to, if you're in oil and you're young, you're going to have to learn to adjust. You know what I'm saying? So this happens all the time, right? You've got car companies now that sell cars that they need less salespeople because it's a price that's there. That's it. There's no negotiating. I think Tesla's like that, right? You go pay the price. That's it. So you need less salespeople. Messi gets to Inter Miami. Do you think they hire more salespeople or do they hire less? Kind of like what the Heat did, right? LeBron comes, oh, yeah, well, we need less people now. This happens everywhere. In every walk of life, people are being phased out. New things take over. And then people have to adjust. And they have to, if they don't change their ways or find another job, they're going to be out of a job. So to listen to running backs cry and whine about how the game is changing because it changed for fullbacks, running backs. You didn't cry for fullbacks, right? Because fullbacks used to actually make a living. Everybody had a fullback. Now you're down to just a couple teams that have a fullback. What happened to the big logging center in the NBA? He's gone. If that guy can't shoot a three and can't put the ball on the floor and help become a little bit more versatile, you're going to struggle in this league. You know, we talked about the goon is gone in hockey. Everybody had a goon or two on their team, right? And now what would you do? It would be harder for certain goons to actually make it in the league now. Games evolve, sports evolve, life evolves. Do you need now to have the regular television, or do you use apps now? Right? You had to change to a smart TV, didn't you? You couldn't have the old TV with the rabbit ears, right? It got phased out. It's funny to hear running backs whine when this is part of life and it evolves. And the latest now in sports is the running back that's being phased out the last couple of years. And you're not going to make no committee like some dude on Twitter. Well, they're going to have to allocate a certain amount of money to running backs from here on out. And I'm told, no, they're not. That's silly. You're not going to tell people where they have to spend their money. And if somebody has 2 or 3 backs that are really cheap and they drafted them or they found them off the street and they're doing the job, why the hell should they pay them more? Just because you say so? That's stupid. So if you feel like overpaying for somebody, then you do it. And if you feel like underpaying or paying somebody market value, then you do that. But I find it hilarious. Seriously, I find it hilarious to hear about running backs that are whining and they're still making millions of dollars. And yet, at least your position isn't being completely eliminated. Like the fullback is practically eliminated from the league. Very few offenses are using it. You know, go cry somewhere else, dude. Enough already. Toughen up a little and figure it out and get it done.
Hey,
oh, by the way, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Did you see Austin Eckler's comments?
No, I did not. What did he say?
He went on a show and was asked about how close he was to being traded, and he said not at all. And he said because his trade would have came with baggage because they wanted to trade me for high picks. He said the Chargers, they weren't going to let me go for anything that wasn't up there. So they saw my value there. It's funny how when they allow me the trade, they're like, okay, but we want to get these types of picks, which were not low picks, but when we're not going to pay you like that type of player. So it's kind of interesting where it's like, oh, if you're going to get traded, you got to be traded at this level. But if we're going to keep you, we're going to keep you down here at this level. And then he says, you can see for them, yeah, it makes sense because they're getting the best of both worlds. Because it's a business.
Exactly. It's a business. That's it. Sorry, bro. Maybe you should have picked another position. Although I'm going to call bullshit that anybody was offering any kind of high picks for Austin Eckler. Okay? Because you have to give him the picks and then you have to give him a contract. Because
he's saying the Chargers wanted high picks.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. No. Which is why he said no, he was never close to being traded. He said, I was never close to being traded because the Chargers wanted such high draft picks for me. So I was never close to being traded.
I'm going to call bullshit on that. I'm going to call Austin Eckler a liar there. There's a ton of running backs available, bro. Nobody's in line to trade for you, Austin Eckler. Sorry, dude. A ton of running backs out there. There were some that are available in free agency. In fact, last time I checked, Dalvin Cook is better than you. Okay? So I'd rather sign Dalvin Cook than trade for you. I call complete bullshit on that. You can have Derrick Henry. He's in the final year of his deal. Go trade for him. Same thing. You know what I mean? I call complete bullshit on that, on Austin Eckler. Nobody was going to give up big picks. I doubt the Los Angeles Chargers were asking for big picks because the market is not there to trade any running back for big picks. Dalvin Cook was there to be had. No one traded for Dalvin Cook. It's complete bullshit. Complete bullshit by Austin Eckler. But that's fine. Hey, congratulations to Alex. Don't call me Quincy Magoo. He signs a one-year deal with the Packers. The USFL MVP and champion, by the way, with the Birmingham Stallions. Alex Magoo is with the Packers. So good for him, dude. Good for him. By the way, I got to tell you, I really like what Tua, had to say yesterday with Joe Shad. I thought it was something that I would call needed. And I like it because Tua is comfortable now. I think it's important for him to feel comfortable. And yesterday, Dolphins, he said, I think we're definitely legit contenders. There's no doubt with the guys we have on defensive side of the ball, with the guys we have on the offensive side of the ball. And now with this being the first time as an offense, we get to come back understanding the plays already, kind of molded into the offense a little more. I think it can get very, very scary, pretty dangerous. I love the confidence. It's the truth. They have the talent now to go out there and be really good on both sides of the ball. Offense and defense. I know some of you I'm not convinced yet of the offensive line. I'm not convinced yet that Tua can stay healthy. And I get all of that. Okay. I understand all of that. I have a little bit more confidence than some of you out there with what these guys are doing. Okay. But to me, I just feel that this team is perfectly set to compete at a high level. And the fact that you now think about this, look, I'm one of the few, you could go back and check out the videos 3-4 years ago in Tua's first year and go check out the videos by the end of the year. Okay. And you're going to hear me talk about how impressed I was with this first year, because the way I look at things is a little different than others. Okay. I want to see my quarterback in chaos. And he was in a chaotic situation for 2 years. That first year, he was getting pressured as he was handing off, and he was coming off a hip injury. And he had the highest completion percentage in the tightest windows in the NFL with no running game and no offensive line. Still had a winning record, still threw more touchdowns than interceptions, and had no offensive guidance because his offensive staff was terrible. I call that elite. That's what I call that. So what he did last year when he was looking like an MVP, a lot of you were surprised. I wasn't. Because if I can see you still survive with one receiver that everybody knew that you were throwing at, no line that could block, no running back, you still won more than you lost. You still threw more touchdowns than interceptions. I think you're going to excel when they actually give you a decent offense around you. And my only concern has always been from day one is availability with him, because that was his problem at Alabama. And that's been his problem here. But I was never worried about his play. And even after the first year convinced me that this kid is elite. That first year. Because most quarterbacks under the same type of situation would get Ryan Tannehill would throw 1,000 interceptions in the same scenario because he would have panicked. His brain would have gone scatter like it usually does when key moments like that. Not this guy. So when I see a comfortable Tua that will have, I believe, the offense he needs, okay, God willing, of course, injuries to the line or anything like that. He has the weapons he needs, obviously. He's got a hell of a defense now. It's got a chance to be really special. With that secondary, that front seven should be able to pressure some people. Okay? I really like the Dolphins secondary. But Tua's comfortable. He's able to be himself. He's able to be a leader. And there's no doubt in my mind, I agree with him on this. Everybody's coming back a second year in the offense. Tyreek said he didn't know the offense last year. He just didn't know everything, which is normal. When Tua said that a couple years ago and people freaked out, sometimes he's too honest because people aren't educated enough about this game to actually know a lot of the ins and outs. Like a lot of players their heads are spinning the first year. They don't really know the entire playbook. They're usually asking for help. Sometimes in the middle of the game, when they call a play, they look to their teammate. What am I supposed to do here? And you're hoping that your teammate knows exactly what he's supposed to do and what you're supposed to do. Kind of when you watch the quarterbacks thing on Netflix, how they Peyton, when he's narrating, he's talking about how you've got to know your position and everybody else's position. And this kid mentally is elite. Thrower, elite. He just needs to stay healthy and make good decisions. But I love to see where Tua's at mentally, and I love to see where he's at physically because he's built up his body and is ready for the season and has attacked what are his weaknesses. Okay, I got to take care of my body more. I got to build it up so I can take more punishment. And that's what he's attacked. So love what I saw from Tua yesterday with Joe Shad. You should check out that article, by the way. And you heard Joe. Do it before it gets behind the paywall if you're not paying there. Jacob says, hey, man, checking in from Fort Wayne, Indiana. I really want to go to a game down there, but we have a young family. Any suggestions on the most cost-effective way to travel, stay, eat while down there? Do not stay in South Beach, Jacob. Stay more west than east. The more you go towards the water, the hotels are going to be super expensive. You can stay more inland and stay east and just drive to the beach if you need to go. That would be my suggestion. Don't stay in the Grove. Don't stay in Key Biscayne. Don't stay on Las Olas Boulevard. Don't stay in South Beach. These are places that you're going to pay a lot of money. So try to stay a little bit more west You'll find better rates. And there's a lot of mom and pop stores where you can eat and stuff like that. So you can save yourself some money that way. Tickets wise, I can't help you, bro. Tickets are tickets, and that you're going to have to see what they're on sale for by Ticketmaster, and then compare to the, what's that called? StubHub or Vivid or any of those other SeatGeek, all those other services, and then you can compare. That would be my suggestion. Plane flights and cars. That's the other thing. If you're going to rent a car, rent it early, man. Do it already. And then keep checking. By the way, that's what I do. Whenever I'm traveling, it doesn't matter where I'm going. I rent a car, right? If I have to rent a car where I'm going. And then I go back every couple days a week to go check out, because sometimes you'll find a cheaper rate, and then you can cancel the one you have and get the cheaper rate. So I would do that too, because that happens. Those are the only tips I have for you, my brother. I hope it helps. Let's see. They have to program the robots to mess up drive-throughs orders, through, or it will be chaos. Tua looks like Derrick Henry the first 2 years. Justin would fold like a bench chair on a hot summer day. Tua's neck tripled in size. Well, he's got to have a better base. That's smart. Oh, heard South Beach isn't safe anymore and only tourists go out there now. Is that true? Nah, South Beach is fine. It's on some of those weekends where they do the stupid shit. Those are like Memorial Day weekend or Labor Day weekend? One of those two, it becomes a crazy thing. That's kind of when it happens, when they have a couple of those special weekends. So, but I think if you're going to like a normal weekend that isn't a Memorial Day weekend or something like that, I think you're fine. I think you're all right. Now, take that plastic, bro, because it's expensive there. It's very simple. Needs to stay healthy all season. Good, productive winning season. Must make championship game. Anything less season is a failure. There you go. That's it. No championship game appearance. You failed. We have the Big O show playing in our warehouse, and everyone laughed at the line, "You don't see bluegrass violence." Too fun. Exactly. Right? Bluegrass artists, are they going out there and pumping lead into people? No, I don't think so. You see a classical music star going on TikTok and flashing guns and no, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. You watching John Legend? Is he pulling out a gun and shooting Anita Baker? No, I don't think so. Nah, I don't see that. Nope, don't see that. I don't see Sade's fan base fighting against Taylor Swift's fan base in an all-out brawl. Yeah, we gotta change that attitude, bro. We gotta change that. We can't keep losing artists. That just makes zero sense. I got cheated out of more, and it's all about me now. Okay, this ain't about any of you out there. This ain't about the rap game. No. Okay, I got cheated out of more Tupac and Biggie. Me. Okay, all about me. Okay, I can't buy any more CDs. There are no more. They're not around anymore to make music. So, you folks out there that killed two of my favorite rappers, you cheated me out of more music. I'm pissed about that. That makes zero sense in my eyes. I get to see Bono do music into his 60s. And I get to see you two make a different album every few years now. Still doing it. Where's Tupac? Can't do that. This can't happen anymore, bro. And I don't know how people don't get it. I don't know how people stay stupid. It's amazing to me. Arnaldo says, Big O, I completely agree. There's no question. If Tua stays healthy, he is an elite QB. Hells to the yeah. Hells to the yeah. The only violence in bluegrass is dueling banjos, but not crazy like Deliverance. You got a pretty mouth, boy. He goes, I don't know. Oh, you might want to watch. Yeah, it's true. Those Swiftie fans, Swiftie and the Beehive, right? It's called with what's Beyonce, one of the finest women in the entire universe, not planet, universe, because there's no way there's anything finer in the universe. I'm sorry, than Beyonce. It's hard to find that. Big O, there are still rappers that haven't figured out. Yeah, well, those are the right. Jay-Z, Drake, Eminem, Kanye. Yeah, well, Kanye's crazy. He didn't really figure it out, but yeah, you're right. At least he's not shooting people up. The only time Mozart became violent is when he told Beethoven to pass the Grey Poupon. Well, you better pass that Grey Poupon. That shit is good. Yeah, well, the youth fair is coming, but it's in March. What we're doing is they're having a youth fair day at the Miami Marlins game. It'll be the Miguel Cabrera game, the last appearance for Miguel Cabrera in South Florida, obviously World Series hero. And so there's a QR code there, and you can buy the tickets, and you're making a donation to the youth fair organization, which helps a lot of kids' projects. Remember, the youth fair is a nonprofit organization. So this is all giving back. So you actually, by buying tickets with that QR code, you have to do it through the QR code. By buying tickets for Detroit and the Marlins, you will also be making a donation. So you can actually write it off. And you get to see Miguel Cabrera in his final appearance in South Florida. It's going to be a fun game, man. So go check it out. Winnable game, too, for Miami. Las Vegas police searching. Yes, I know. They're searching the house there of some guy that they think could be involved. It's furious, man, right? It's just something that you get mad about. That, like, no, Biggie, you're supposed to be here, dude. And still kicking ass. Like, Tupac, you're supposed to still be here. Like, can you imagine how big Tupac would have been by now? Think about that. If he continues on the trajectory that he was going on, Jesus, dude. It would have been some legendary shit. It's just no fun, dude. Sucks. Totally sucks. I think I'm out of gas. I think I got nothing else, folks. We thank Matt Verderam. We thank Joe Shad. We thank all of you out there. As always, those of you that send in a super chat, remember you can always make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. And you can also make a Bitcoin donation, which Steven, thank you, sir. He sent in a little Bitcoin donation. Appreciate that, my man. Very nice of you, Steven Gonzalez. Thank you, sir. Thank you for sending in the Bitcoin donation. So you can make one, and he did it right now through Cash App. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. Tomorrow, we're at Hialeah Park, 3 to 6 p.m., so come on out and join us, man. Looking forward to it. We'll see you tomorrow. We thank Sean Stanley, who masters this entire platform. By the way, if you missed the Squared Circle Digest. It was on last night. Frankie and Sean, of course, driving the program. They were on for 2 hours, rocking and rolling. So if you missed your wrestling talk, you can catch up audio or video. It's all there for you, yesterday's episode. We'll see you all tomorrow from Hialeah Park at 3 o'clock. Same time, same place, same bat channel.